Hello, hello. Let me just change my thumbnail really quick while I wait for people to come in, if anyone is up at this hour. So it's Monday night. It's the end of a 3-day weekend. And I'm kind of upset, to be honest with you. Like, 3-day weekend is not enough. 4-day weekend is not enough. You know, it's never enough time off. But at least I actually really enjoy and I'm like proud of what I'm doing at my new job. So I'm going to count my blessings. Yeah, speaking of new job, that's part of the reason why I feel like this entire past week has been dedicated to getting this new product ready to launch at my old job. So I had literally no time really to celebrate my own birthday. What a travesty. So yeah, I had to wait until this weekend before I went out with a friend that I haven't seen this girl in like 7 months. I think the last time we met up was in January, and I gotta be honest with you, I'm not sure if I'm open to meeting up with her again. So hear me out. Hold on a second. Let me make this air conditioning quieter. I hope that's better. Yeah, so hold on, sorry. Someone just texted me. Let me just get this out of the way. But yeah, I've been wanting to do a birthday live. My birthday was August. I don't know if I should say the exact day because there's like crazy people out there. Not that my channel is big enough for me to get doxxed or anything, but you never know what might happen. There are some crazies out there. But it was last week, right? And then I met up with a friend for lunch and just some dessert on Saturday. And I do feel kind of bad, you know, using her as the subject of this live stream. However, I got to speak my truth, as you know. And my intention is not to be like catty or to bring anyone down, but I just need to call a spade a spade. And I feel like it's always better whenever I'm authentic on my channel as opposed to trying to sugarcoat things. Hi, Isis. Happy birthday and congrats on your new job. Thank you so much. Truly. I feel like I'm in such a good place right now, and it is such a sharp 180 turn from where I was at the beginning of this year, which was like unemployed, um, lots of things happening in my personal life I won't get too deep into, but like I lost a friend, someone that I thought was my best friend of 10 years. That dissolved. I wasn't on the best terms with, you know, my family over things that stemmed from my dad's death almost 2 years ago, and unemployed. Did I mention that? Yeah, that was the biggest one. So watching my savings, like my emergency fund, deplete every single day, it was not a fun time. And also, of course, having to deal with all of like the rejections and the red tape. Not really the rejections. Like I don't see, you know, companies not deciding to hire me as a rejection. I just see it as we were not a good match. But it took a long time to finally find the job that was the opportunity that was meant for me. But I'm so glad that I stuck it out and I stuck to the manifestation principles of just like holding the pose and becoming like I knew without a shadow of a doubt that the universe was going to align me with this job and just my current situation, my entire, you know, emotional state at this moment. I even won a prize at the most recent beauty pageant that I entered in July, which I was gonna make a live stream about that too, but I'm struggling to find the time, you guys. This new job, it's not so much like the job itself, it's more the commute. Even though, again, like I'm really happy because they're so flexible. I'm allowed to work from home. But since it's still kind of early on, it's only the second month of employment for me. I feel like it's a better bet to continue to like show my face in the office as often as possible. Even though honestly, my line manager, like my direct manager, she is pretty busy. She's always constantly in and out of meetings all day. So if we even ever have a chance to link up, it's usually only for a couple minutes per day. But even that, I feel like it's important to have that face to face, you know? And even if it's not her, again, it's just good to show my face around the office and have other members of the team get used to the fact that like I am a presence here. So yeah, I'm gonna have to continue to stick that out at least for the second month. Because the commute time is really, really long. It's like an hour, a little bit over an hour actually, door to door. So that's the part that's been exhausting me physically. However, again, since they're very flexible and my boss is not a micromanager, nobody's like checking my timesheet to see exactly what time I'm clocking in or leaving. I have the option to go in later during lunchtime or in the afternoon even, like, you know, if I especially if I don't have meetings during the morning, there's no point for me to really like wake up and get on the rush hour train. That one is the biggest nightmare because that one, as you know, I mean, if you've seen those viral videos of the rush hour train in Japan or in Tokyo where they have like station attendants literally pushing people into the boxcar like a can of sardines. That's the truth. That's how KO line is, which is the one that I take. And I actually take 3 lines because I have to transfer twice. Like, it's a whole ordeal. But if I don't go during rush hour and if I just go during like noontime, it's a world of difference. Like, it cuts down the time actually by at least 15 minutes. Whereas if I take the rush hour morning train, that one is constantly late because they're quite frankly, they're over capacity. There's just too many people that use the KO line. But anyway, that's not the point of this video. So this video, I titled it, Why Attractive and Confident People Need to Avoid the Broke, Insecure, and Unattractive. And I'm talking about, when I say broke, insecure, and unattractive, I'm not actively trying to call other people broke and unattractive, okay? I'm talking about people's self-concept about themselves. Because remember, rich and poor, attractive and unattractive, these all stem from a state of mind originally, right? And then that state manifests into your physical reality. So that's why typically you do find that, you know, the people who have the most, I guess, material evidence of success and abundance in their lives, they tend to be more at peace and abundant and open-minded, or no, that's not the right word. They tend to have they tend to be more pleasant to be around generally, even just in conversation or at a social setting, because you can feel their self-confidence and how rooted they are in life in general. The fact that they know that they have a financial cushion to fall back on. They know they have a good social network. They know that they are, you know, conventionally attractive and they are kind of like fully functioning on all cylinders. That's the type of person that I feel safe around, right? Because they have nothing to lose by being around you, and also they do not feel threatened by you no matter how good you're doing. If you surround yourself constantly with people who are ahead of you in life and they're doing better than you can count on, not in every single case, right? But because we all know some people continue to be insecure and continue to not work on their triggers. They're still unhealed inside, no matter how much like wealth and worldly outside success they may accumulate, but for the most part, like people who are ahead of you in life, people who have more than you, they're more wealthy than you, they don't see you as a threat, right? Even when you enter their circle. In fact, more often than not, they're excited to see that you're ready. Like mindset wise, when they talk to you, they can sense when you are ready to also embark on this similar journey that they've already gone on, or they're already at like the higher later stages of. So that's why typically when you really talk with people that are wealthy or they are business minded, they're entrepreneurial minded, they are excited to help you get to the next level. That's after after a certain point, I guess, like the amount of money that they're able to make, the high quality of lifestyle that they enjoy, it becomes like they don't, not to say that they take it for granted, but it becomes natural to them. It becomes like a normal thing. It becomes normalized for them. So that initial like excitement of, oh my god, I'm making all this money and I'm moving up in life, that initial excitement wanes and they start to find fulfillment in other things, such as, teaching younger or more up and coming people how to like recreate their success or how to follow in their footsteps, right? Hi, Christian. Thanks so much for joining. So yeah, I'm beating around the bush. Yeah, I'm avoiding the topic because I truly, okay, I feel bad about talking about this girl, but I have to come on here and talk about it because this is how I teach and this is how I lead, the collective breakthroughs that I like to think we all have on my channel. And honestly, I wouldn't I wouldn't talk about this girl if I wasn't genuinely kind of surprised and taken aback by our interaction on Saturday. So this is the friend that I haven't really seen in well, I haven't seen, period, in the last 7 months, who was kind enough to, she was the one who reached out to invite me. She was like, let me take you out to lunch for your birthday. And I was like, sure, it's a 3-day weekend. And I'd love to go for kakigori, which is a Japanese like shaved ice treat, which I haven't had in years actually. So I thought it would be like a really nice, girly catch up opportunity. And this girl, I want to preface by saying that she is not catty in any way. Like I don't distrust her at all. I don't think she even has it in her to really like be catty or like openly jealous or anything like that of me. However, it's precisely because of that I thought it was safe to hang out with her, right? But then as our date or our lunch, whatever you want to call it, went on, it sadly I was reminded of why basically for the most part, if you're very confident, very attractive, as a woman, you're a triple threat or you're a multiple threat, like beautiful, smart, successful, ambitious, all these things. You really need to be wary when you get around people who are not at your level or at least close to it on all these fronts. And so let me elaborate a little bit. So this girl, she is, I'm just gonna say it, she's morbidly obese. Um, but she puts herself together, like she's very clean and she was actually wearing a really cute dress the day that she met with me. So like immediately upon seeing her, I'm like, "Oh my god, your dress is so beautiful," right? She didn't return the compliment, so I was like, "Okay, not that I expect everyone to fall at my feet and compliment me whenever they see me, but it's kind of noteworthy, right? If you invited me, you went out of your way to take me out on this birthday luncheon, but you don't even make any comment whatsoever on my appearance." So that was one thing that I immediately noticed. It's not just the fact that she didn't return. It's not just the fact that she didn't compliment me on, just like a regular greeting level, like, "Oh wow, you look so great too." Nothing of the sort. Not ever throughout any of our conversation, which was also kind of strange because we talked about like fitness and being healthy and glowing up and all of that, like being glowing up to be our best selves. That was part of the conversation that we had. And yeah, it was just interesting that she didn't compliment me like on my birthday. Anyway, I'm not trying to nitpick, so I'm really trying to stick to the main points here. But yeah, so she's like morbidly obese, but she's been working on herself, and I think she was always like a big girl. So she was telling me actually over lunch that she had lost 15 kilos. And to be honest with you, I was kind of shocked because like 15 kilos is a lot, right? But I honestly thought like if she had told me the opposite thing, if she told me that, oh, I actually gained 5 kilos, I would not have known the difference because she's just that big. And anyway, this is not about how big she is, but the fact that like every time I feel hopeful that, okay, I can be friends with a girl that is like not conventionally attractive, as long as she's confident with herself, right? There should be no problem. I always like have this hope that, okay, if a girl is not exactly on my level in attractiveness, which I know it sounds like so arrogant, but I have this hope that I attract other confident people, right? So even if they don't fit like the societal standard of attractiveness, the fact that we connected with each other, it should mean that they're on the same wavelength as me, right? Like even though they don't fit the standard, their own self concept must be so high that it shouldn't be a problem. Because like if we both get together, um, then it should just be two people that are extremely confident in themselves hanging out together, and there should be no tension. But that sadly was not the case with this friend. So okay, let me backtrack a little bit. Actually the first thing that she says to me when she meets up with me, which by the way, she was 30 minutes late, so I wasn't a fan of that. I'm really, really averse to people being late as well. I'm strict, okay? Like my vetting process is very, very strict when it comes to if you want any type of spot in my life as an acquaintance, a friend, a boyfriend, or just a guy on the roster, like you really need to, this is why when I go on dates with men, I make sure that I only entertain men who have cars. That way, if they're late, it's not really a big deal because I'm still like chilling in my home anyway before they pick me up. So even if they're like, I'm so sorry, I have to be an hour late because of traffic, it's not a big deal for me to continue sitting in my house, which is what I was doing already, and just like take that extra hour to read a book that I've been putting off. You know what I mean? But yeah, when it comes to friends, it's a little bit trickier because people, you can't like blow up on them if they're late. The only thing you can really do is that you can choose to not meet up with that friend anymore if it becomes a pattern. Because I don't play about my time at all, and I'm rarely late to things. So social things, 15 minutes is the most that I will ever come tardy to an event. Unless it's one of those parties where it's like, it's from 4 to 10 p.m. and people can just pass through at any time within that time frame. But if me and a friend agree that okay, we're going to meet at 1 p.m. at this particular restaurant or in front of this particular place, then I don't take kindly to it when people are more than 15 minutes late. I feel like, you know, if it's one time, fine. But if it becomes a pattern, I tend to just like slowly pull away from ever making plans with that person again, at least one on one, right? If we both happen to go to like some networking event later, if we both happen to go to some networking event or some party hosted by a third party, to where it's not consequential whether or not they're on time, then I don't mind catching up with them there, but I'm not going to make like one-on-one plans. Anyway, so the point is when she was 30 minutes late and then, I let it go. I'm not going to get on her ass about that. But then immediately like when she sees me, she's like, "Oh, happy birthday." So like she's interrogating me on like how do you feel? Like so and you can tell a lot about a person by the questions that they ask you. Like before I did my inner work and before I guess reached this level of consciousness, before I gained the ability to see things from a third person third person objective perspective. I feel like I was about to get tongue tied there, but yeah. So before I cultivated this ability to kind of like zoom out and see things from a third person perspective, I was like everyone else, right? I would get triggered by things that people said that rubbed me the wrong way, or I would take it everything personally as if they were attacking me or they were questioning my validity, when that's not the case, right? We all know by now, if you've been in the manifestation community for a while, that people are projecting their own insecurities and their own worldview onto you. So if they ask you things that you're like not comfortable with or it rubs you the wrong way, just remember like shows that tells you everything about where their worldview is at, and it has no reflection on you, right? If you are somebody that is like really confident in your self concept and you're grounded in your own identity, it should have no impact on you if somebody asks you a bunch of questions or they come at you with an energy that is a little bit low vibrational. For you should have no like yeah, you should have no personal emotional investment in that. It's more so just information that, oh, okay, so this is where this person's mind space is. And yeah, so let me give you examples of a couple of questions she asked me straight out the gate, right? We didn't even get into the restaurant yet. I was kind of trying to like not answer anything before we sat down, at least. I'm like, okay, if you want to ask all of these kind of, in my opinion, like inconsequential, low, dare I say, lower vibrational questions, at least wait until we get in the store, girl. Like you're the one, you're the reason that we have to wait another 20 minutes. Cause, but anyway, so she was like, so how do you feel like being 1 year older? Do you feel any different? Or, and she was basically like, without saying it explicitly, getting at the fact that how do you feel getting older, right? And you know all the implications that comes with that as a woman in this society, getting older, being in your 30s like me. So I just turned 36, by the way. She's like, yeah, how does that feel? And probably, I don't know, like I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna, try to speak too much for her, but just by the fact of her asking that question, which none of my pretty friends would ask me, okay, just I'm being very straightforward here. None of my pretty, confident, successful female friends would ever ask me that question, because it doesn't matter. Like it's so inconsequential. Nobody that I know who's a hot girl essentially cares about this question, cares about the fact that like another number has been tacked onto your age. Nobody that I associate with. I follow women in their 30s and 40s and above, right? When it comes to like other channels on social media, if I want to look to older sister figures for advice, or just to get a preview of what could possibly come in the next few years, right? So I'm 36. I think it's like only natural and logical that I follow women in their 40s, because I want to get a sneak preview of what life can be like, how good life can be when you're in your 40s if you get all your ducks in a row. So I don't think of age as like, oh no, my value as a woman is deteriorating because like now I'm in my late 30s, or actually I don't know, 36 I feel like is still mid 30s. But and also, like, on top of that, I know that I look really young. People tell me all the time, like, this is not even something that the looking young conversation is actually not even something that I personally want to engage in, because I also feel like it's kind of pointless, right? Like, yes, I know I look good, I know I look young. I take it's for a reason, right? I take good care of myself physically, mentally, spiritually, and that should just be like the natural byproduct of putting yourself first in your life. Um, and of course, I'm always like very gracious whenever people pay me that compliment, because I know that that's their intention. It's to pay me a compliment. So I never like. So okay, yeah, this is a great example. Sorry, I'm remembering this as I go. I didn't script out this live or anything. So she was asking me like questions. She was asking me that question about how do you feel being 1 year older, basically in a nicer way, but that's what she was implying. So I wasn't upset though, right? I actually kind of felt like every time that she asked me this type of question, I felt compassion, I felt empathy, I felt kind of bad, because I was like, oh my god, so this is where you're coming from, right? Like I can see that she was coming from that insecure, like, pick me, good girl programming, seeking for validation type of space that I've been out of for so long. And to be quite honest, I don't come across many other women at this point who are still in that space, because every all the female friendships and relationships, all the female acquaintances that I attract to myself these days are other women that are on the same wavelength as me. So we don't talk about these kinds of things, like our insecurities and, how do we feel about getting older and stuff. It's not a concern, like, anyway. So I was basically, and the thing is, like, you feel uncomfortable as somebody who is highly confident and aware of and owns your attractiveness, because you feel like you have to, like, water down your own self-image. If I was with another equally attractive friend, I could talk freely about how, yeah, like, I know I look good and I know I can pull any guy that I wanted still, and I'm gonna continue to look this good, like, well into my 40s and 50s, and who gonna check me, right? I'm only gonna get hotter and prettier as I age. Like, I feel comfortable telling you guys on this channel because I feel like I'm followed by a lot of fellow pretty girls and fellow confident women. But when you're with someone who's, like, insecure, or they're still kind of in that space of they're seeking validation and approval, they know that they don't fit the popular beauty standards, so they feel like they need to overcompensate. You have to, like, hold back, right? Or else you feel like you're being mean to, not mean, but, like, you don't want to come across as if you're bragging. So you have to hold back, which is, like, bad for the dynamic overall, because now you're not being 100% authentic, and then they feel that, and then they start to pull back as well. Now they're suspicious because they're like, wait a minute, she's holding back. But the thing is, like, it's a double-edged sword, because if I completely unleashed, you know my real personality, like my full Leo confidence, then I'm afraid that she won't like it. Either she'll take it the wrong way, or she'll, as a defense mechanism, she'll write it off as me being arrogant and delusional, or she might even just take it as further proof that, like, she needs to work harder for approval or something, which is the saddest one, right? Like, I don't want any of those things to happen. So I have to refrain from being my true, from letting my full confidence and groundedness in myself shine through. Does that make sense? So yeah, I'm like, oh, I don't really think about age because, like, first of all, I don't look a day. People tell me all the time I don't look a day over 25. Some people insist that I still look like I'm literally 20, which, thank you very much, but, like, it's okay. You don't need to say that I look 20. Maybe through the camera, because the camera dulls down, like, texture and stuff, but I mean, I don't it's true. I don't have pores or anything. This is, like, my real skin with I'm wearing makeup, of course, but it is true that my pores are, like, very, very minuscule and tiny. The secret to that is that I just didn't wash my face regularly as a child. I was a lazy child, so I think that if you don't wash your face a lot, I wash it now, obviously, as an adult. Okay, like, I do my cleansing and stuff, but for, yeah, the majority of my childhood, I, like, didn't wash my face. So I feel like inadvertently it helped me because it didn't because of that, I didn't, like, open up my pores more than they were naturally. Anyway, we're getting off topic again. So she was asking me, like, and you could tell, like, every time I gave an answer that was kind of deflecting, or I was trying to just, like, shut down whatever she was trying to imply, like with the age question, right? She was expecting something about how, oh, I know that, like, I'm getting older, and I'm she wanted me to say something, I think, about how, like, I do feel the pressure of getting older and being deemed less attractive or less desirable. However, I'm commenting against it, right? Because I'm a strong, independent woman and I don't take any shit. Like, she wanted me to say that, but the thing is, the first half of that statement I have not been concerned with at all, pretty much in my entire life. Like, I'm not even concerned with the fact that my perceived value is dropping or whatever. First of all, because I don't subscribe to red pill rhetoric nonsense. But second of all, because, like, in my real life, the I get confirmation on a daily basis by men and women and children, like, by everyone else in society, that I look way, way younger than my actual age. And even when I tell them my actual age, it's just more impressive anyway when they know that I'm 36, and it's more impressive when you're like older, when your actual age is older than what people assume you to be. So in my reality, like in my worldview, anything that happens, like any state of my life that I'm in, any age that I'm at, life is only going to show me how much I'm favored and how lucky I am. I'm only going to attract more opportunities to me. Okay, so like for example, when I was in my 20s, right? I had my actual youth working for me. This is the case for everybody. I was actually in my 20s, so that means I have the power of youth on my side. I have bargaining power, so to speak, right? In many situations like jobs, boyfriends, especially if they're older men, which I was dating. So when you're literally 20, that's like your power, and you have more nobody judges you, right, for trying out new things because you're still so young. But in your 30s, it's like I also, since I naturally have the tendency to only focus on the positive, I only look for how things can benefit me. I only look to be in spaces where I can benefit the most and I can shine the most. So in my 30s, I found this beauty pageant thing where I can wear beautiful traditional Chinese dresses, and I even won the most photogenic award at the most recent one that they held in July. I wasn't even trying. Like I'm not trying to be like, "Oh, I didn't try at all and I won something." Like I was not in a good space that week. In fact, the day of that pageant, I was like crying about something. It was right after I started my new job, so I was really stressed about everything, and I think I was just like feeling overwhelmed because it was a sharp contrast to my lifestyle before being employed at this new job, right? Where I was able to sleep until 3 p.m. every day and like only do one major task every day. Now I had to like cram everything and basically go for 14 hours straight every day on the weekday, to where I was totally depleted by the weekend. And I was just like, and I didn't like my hair, there weren't any good salons open that weekend for me to get my hair done. So I just had to go to this random generic salon that I'd never been to before and then have them do a really simple curled hairdo on me, which turned out fine actually. But it was everything was weird that day, and like I almost had the urge to skip the entire event. But I'm so glad that I showed up because I freaking won the most photogenic award. That's pretty cool, right? So, like, I found that contest. I entered this pageant in the first place. So this organization, it's called the Tokyo Mandarin Award. They hold several pageants per year, and the big one is in January. So I'm going to be participating in each one for the rest of this year leading up to that January contest. And I decided to enter because they took contestants as long as you were 40 years old and below, you could enter into the Miss category, right? So like also now that I'm in my 30s, I'm a lot wiser. I'm a lot more cunning than I was in my 20s. So I can use that to my advantage right now when I'm dealing with men, or even just when I'm like interviewing for jobs. I know more now. I know exactly how much bargaining power that I have, so I can be more demanding. But like I also know the way to convey that to people without coming across abrasive, right? Or without coming across as if I'm like argumentative with the person on the other end of the table. And I'm not really thinking about this because I'm not there yet, but when I get to my 40s, I'm going to find another set of advantages or spaces in which I can thrive the most when I'm in my 40s. Like for example, well, let's just stick with the 30s, right? Like I'm really this year in particular, I'm really trying to up my financial literacy. I'm trying to get my finances in order, my taxes. Emergency fund is the first order of business after I hit the target amount of money that I want to have in my immediate emergency fund. Then I'm going to start really going hard on studying how to invest, like what type of funds, what's the best, strategy, what type of funds, what type of stocks, how many different, as a, not a dual citizen, but as a American expat, right? So my citizenship is US, but I've been living in Tokyo for the past 12 years, and I live here on a work visa. So I have to, my situation is very unique, right? It's not something that I can just go to any US based finance channel or Japan based finance channel and copy their blueprint for how to achieve financial freedom by whatever age. It's not like I can just follow the blueprint of somebody that lives and works in the country that they hold citizenship in. I have to craft my own customized plan for myself, right? As an American person that lives overseas in Japan. So I have to look into, like, on both the US and the Japan side, what is the best retirement fund to invest into? Or do I want to do like a split joint, what's it called? Split portfolio type deal where I maybe invest 50% into the American side and 50% into the Japanese side. That way, if either one tanks, like, hopefully the other one might go up and it'll keep everything afloat. So, yeah, those are my immediate goals for my 30s. I want to build a solid financial base for myself so that by the time I get into my 40s, I can enter those rooms and I can thrive in those spaces where 40 something year old women thrive the most, right? Like, for example, I don't know. I'm just trying to think finance in relation to this, right? So I guess, like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, investment groups, like networking events that are catered towards older people or people that are looking to retire early, or um, and they want to learn more, they want to educate themselves more on how to better invest. I feel like you would get more value out of that as like a 40-year-old woman that's been in the workforce for several decades already, and she already has like a sizable nest egg, as opposed to if you're like 22 fresh out of college, right? I mean, not to say that you can't get started when you're 22 to learn about all that stuff, but I'm just saying, as the most the people who would like benefit the most and who have the most advantageous position in those types of seminars or rooms, what have you, are probably like the 40 something year old women who already have a lot of money saved up and they already have like certain investments, and they're looking for the next step, to really like catapult them into their retired luxury, rich retired aunt era, something like that. So yeah, I keep rambling and going off topic because I really don't want to like bash this girl, but yeah, the fact that she was asking me about my age, that was like a red flag, because that told me that she was thinking about her age, right? Which is sad to me because this girl doesn't is not even 30. I think she's only 28. But then so she was like basically interrogating me for the entire time that we were waiting for the restaurant to call us in. And I was honestly like, wow, girl, chill, Like, I'm not used to, when I meet up with female friends or acquaintances, I'm not used to people asking me, I'm not used to girls interrogating me like this because, like, most of the girls that I hang out with, again, like I said, they're usually on my same wavelength. They usually have a very healthy self concept and they're focused on their own thing, like their own star. Um, but then the next question that she asked me was, she was like, okay, so like, what are your goals for this year? Like, what do you want to accomplish? And again, I'm like, okay, yeah, like that's a good thing to, I understand why she was asking that. And to the untrained eye, it might seem like an innocuous question. But the thing is, like, first of all, I don't need to explain or justify my goals to anybody else, right? So it's not the time and place, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I came here to celebrate my birthday and have a nice, yummy dessert with you and take some cute pictures of ourselves in our outfits. Like, we went out of our way to get all dressed up and get up early on a Saturday to go on this girls' luncheon date together. So I'm not trying to talk about like heavy things, or I don't know, I'm not trying to be super serious. And plus, I don't know, I feel like my goals and everything, again, she cannot handle my real goals. Me telling her my real goals, like what I plan to do to turbo charge my glow up this year, um what I plan to do in terms of dating, like the types of guys that I'm only going to entertain from now on. She's not on the same level, right? Like she is one of those girls that she's a Bob the Builder. Let's just call a spade a spade. Like she has been with the same guy for the past 8 years. They met in university. He doesn't even live in the same country. So she's like half Japanese, half something else, and then her boyfriend is the full something else, right? I won't say because I'm trying to be vague. I'm not trying to attack or expose this girl in particular. I'm just saying that this interaction I had with her, it left me really, really pondering this. Unfortunately, this truth, or I don't know what you want to call it, this axiom that I do feel like my experience reinforced my belief that attractive, confident girls or people in general really need to be careful when they're around insecure or unattractive, or at least in their minds they're not attractive girls, and even guys too, right? But anyway, to get back to the story, like she's been dating this guy since she was in university. He lives in a different country. Apparently, they have this, 5-year goal to. They have this business that they open together, and they're both basically like she's building with him. She's building. She's Bob the Building. She's Barbara the Building with her long term boyfriend from university who lives in a different country. So it's a long distance relationship that apparently, according to her, they've been exclusive with each other for the past 8 years. I don't know her boyfriend at all, so I can't really speak to his character, but I know men. Um, and apparently, he's actually like a pretty high earner in his country. So I think she told me that like he had the option of working in Japan. I mean, he could find a job in Japan at any time, but he got a much better opportunity in terms of like the salary that they offered him in their respective home country. So they decided that it would be better for the short term for him to like stay there for a couple of years. So I think his job is the equivalent to like six figures, at least 100K per year in the States, as opposed to in Japan, he would only be able to get maybe like 60K per year, which neither of those are enough, by the way, to be a provider man. But I don't know. Like, I guess for his age, it's impressive, right? Because he's the same age as her, like 28, 29. So yeah, they decided that they would stick it out for the next like 2 or 3 years while he works this 100K a year job in their home country, and then she continues to work her job here, and they both already set up their business, like I said, so they're like equally contributing and they're building this business together. So she's being a Barbara the Builder. She's morbidly obese, right? So I'm not saying she's not attractive or anything, but I would not be surprised. I'm just going to put it this way. I would not be surprised if he's either a cheating on her or at least like getting his rocks off in some way, if not actual cheating, as in he may not be actively engaging in extracurricular activities with other girls in his home country. He may not be sleeping with other women, but he's certainly getting his rocks off somehow. And either way, how would she know about it, right? Like, obviously, he's not going to tell her if he's doing anything that he knows that she would not be okay with. I don't know. And she doesn't, again, I'm trying not to be mean, but like on his part, he doesn't really have to worry about if she's being faithful to him or not, because it's not like she's necessarily the standard of attractiveness here. So it's not like he's not worried. The very fact that he's comfortable with this arrangement, that they're like doing long distance for the indefinite future, at least the next 2 to 3 years, so that they can both save up enough money to supposedly retire early or to their jobs so that they can put 100% of their focus into their joint business together, is that he knows she's not going anywhere. Like, he doesn't have the fear that she's gonna be snatched up by some eligible Japanese bachelor over here because he knows that she doesn't fit the beauty standard or yeah, over here. And, I hope to God that he doesn't leave her or, like, nothing happens to their relationship, but I wouldn't be surprised at all because a guy making 6 figures in that particular country is, like, really, really considered high value, right? So, I just don't understand. Yeah, I cannot I cannot get with the pygmies. I can't hang out with pygmies. We don't live the same reality. We don't have the same experiences, um, as evidenced very clearly by just the questions that she asked me. So it was interesting because, like, this time around, this is the first time we met since January, right? And in January, that was when she was kind of like trying to have the conversation with me about relationships and how to deal with men and stuff. And you can tell that she was kind. This is another thing. Okay, so this is what insecure like girls that are not quite there yet in terms of their glow up journey will do as well. They will try to keep up with you when you talk about like basically how to deal with men. Like when I talk about how I deal with men, the fact that okay, I don't even consider men that don't have a car. I don't even respond to men that don't match my basic criteria. Like if they try to holler at me in any way, if they try to message me on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever, if they don't match my basic criteria, I don't respond to them at all. Like I just delete them, right? This is not anything revolutionary. This is not anything new. This sprinkle mindset will say, when you talk to other women who are like-minded, who know their value and they know that men are supposed to pay and they're supposed to be like men are supposed to offer you something of value. They're supposed to add to your life if they want to have the privilege of dating you or even taking you out for you to be seen on their arm. They know, like men of quality, know that they have to bring a lot to the table. They have to bring finances. In my case, they need to drive a car so that I don't have to deal with the inconvenience of getting on public transportation. They need to take me to a proper like dinner or lunch. I don't do coffee dates or anything like that. This is nothing new to if you talk to any girl that like consumes sprinkle content, or I know that sprinkle content gets a bad rap, but I'm talking about like the original followers of Shiro Sabbath and the ones that really get it and that they know this life. They walk that walk and talk that talk like I do. It's nothing revolutionary. It's just common sense, right? But if you talk to like an actual kind of Bob the Builder or pick me type of girl, it's very interesting because like okay, this is the best way I can describe just as a blanket representation. This is the best way I can describe my interaction usually as an as a conventionally attractive girl that's like undeniably desired and sought after by lots of men and also women for friendship. Um, most of it, like most of our conversations, it's just a lot of cope on the part of the insecure girl. And then I see what happens is that they try to like keep up with you. Like for example, they'll ask you the question first of all, right? Like they'll throw a line out there just to see, okay, I'm gonna like ask my attractive friend how she deals with men or what her views are on male female dynamics, like how should a relationship be, what do you think about 50-50, that type of thing. And the thing is like we don't think about 50-50 over here when you're super attractive and you're just out here like living your feminine soft life and being flirty and light and just bathing in your feminine energy and everybody else around you notices that and they like to interact with you. I'm talking about like just strangers, waiters, whatever. As a truly attractive, feminine, positive woman, you are the light, right? Like you are the inspiration everywhere you go. You just radiate positive energy, and then people respond to that for the most part really, really well. Or it's a halo effect too, right? Like they give you special treatment, they smile at you more. People make, especially like when I see other cute girls in service positions, like cashier at the combini or something, they will make really, really intense eye contact with me and smile at me. So like I do, I give them the same energy back. But it's so interesting because it's like this this life is not about that. But for example, you know how people stereotype people in Japan as not making a lot of eye contact. You'll read this a lot and you'll see a lot of videos about this that, oh, Japanese like to avoid eye contact because it's too intense. Not if you're like really attractive and bubbly and funny. And if you're young, especially, right? Like a lot of younger girls, like 20s, 30s, they will stare me straight in the face. Almost like it's almost a little bit intense sometimes because when I'm going to the combini or when I'm just like running errands and trying to pick up a few things at the drugstore, I'm trying to be like a little bit discreet, right? I'm not necessarily trying to call all the attention to me in that moment, but I guess like recognizes like, so they will give me a lot of eye contact and they'll be like, "Oh, thank you so much." Like, really trying to catch my eye, so I just smile at them back and I give them the same energy. But yeah, a lot of times so sorry, not to get off topic again. So when I was talking to you know, this bigger insecure friend on Saturday, I could just tell it was a textbook case of like every single pattern that you usually see when it's like a less secure girl talking to a very confident Leo energy, the embodiment of Leo energy girl, which is that okay, so basically they just do a lot of cope, right? Like they ask you questions to test the waters to see like where your mindset is cuz some a lot of times you can have a girl that's really beautiful on the outside but her mentality inside is still pick me. It's still like insecure. So she wants to see what type of girl are you on the inside. If you're insecure and like you actually are not confident in yourself despite your outward appearance, then she'll feel more comfortable that you guys aren't on the same level mentally, right? So then she'll be like, it's almost like they'll give a sigh of relief, like, oh, okay, so, even though there's a clear difference between the way we look physically, this girl is still in the same headspace that I'm in mentally when it comes to like she's also a pick me or she also does things for outside validation because she still hasn't learned how to fully give it to herself yet. So they'll test the waters, right? But with me, they're never going to get and like I'm not going to I don't even know how to respond or like cosplay as a woman who has a more pick me mindset or a more insecure mindset. So I answer as truthfully as I can, but, like, watered down so as to not, hurt their feelings or to not make it too obvious that I'm, like, way up here in terms or, like, I'm way ahead of them. So okay, sorry, I feel like I'm not explaining this well, but, for example, she'll ask me since she was so, like, adamant about me answering her question, because like, I was trying to brush off her interrogative questions casually, to let her know that, okay, I'm not trying to have like a serious conversation or a serious discussion about my goals or whatever right now. Like, you're not my career counselor. You're not my life coach. Chill out. You don't need to worry about what my goals are for the end of this year. Like, what am I trying to accomplish? I'm not thinking about all that because okay, I do have goals. Obviously, I'm very ambitious in my own way, but like, I don't need to do all that. I don't need to prove that to the world. All I need to do when I'm outside, when I'm out and about on a Saturday, on a 3-day weekend, and we're about to go get this yummy shaved ice dessert, I came here to just look pretty. You know what I mean? I came here to just wear my cute outfit, catch up with a cute girly such as myself, or so I thought. I came here to just like vibe, okay, and take pictures. And I'm sorry if that sounds shallow, but it's not shallow. Like, this is what I do on my weekends, in my leisure time. Soft life, you know? when I'm trying to be like a boss babe or whatever at work, that's for work, right? Like I have those clear boundaries within my life. I don't need to prove to anyone when I'm outside work how good I am at my job or what my financial goals are or anything like that. That's not like I don't need to prove that, especially to you as a friend, as a fellow girly living in Tokyo. So, but she kept asking me, right? Like this is another thing. They don't know how to respond when you basically give them nothing. Like or you try to like politely deflect their questions and let them know that yeah, I'm not going to talk about that or I'm not trying to have any like difficult stress inducing conversations at my supposed relaxing birthday lunch with you, right? But she wasn't really getting the hint, so she kept like asking other questions like, "Oh, okay, but like how?" Like she wasn't satisfied with my non-answer that I'm just chilling, right? Like I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone. I don't feel any type of way really about getting older. I feel exactly the same. I'm exactly as attractive as I was before. I'm going to continue to be attractive. It's not a concern on my mind whatsoever. If anything, like I'm only thinking about how I'm going to make myself look as presentable and attractive as possible every day, right? And I also I said that, well, people think I'm 25 anyway at the most whenever they meet me, so it doesn't really cross my mind at all to be worried quote unquote about the fact that I'm 36 now and like worried for what? There's so many now I'm excited now because I feel like I'm finally aging into the age bracket of women that can deal with the real billionaires now in the world, right? Because like Jeff Bezos, whoever, I think how old is Jeff Bezos? Like 60 something. The older that men get, the more money they typically tend to have, right? So I feel like finally I can actually like maybe I'm getting closer to like the 50-year-olds, the 60-year-olds, like the old men that Shira Seven always talks about and always encourages us to go out with. But like I feel like up until now, even now still, if I'm being completely honest, I'm not like genuinely attracted to or excited about going out on a bunch of dates with these old men. Some of them, even if they keep themselves up really well, which a lot of them do, I'll give credit, but I'm still like I'm not attracted to salt and pepper necessarily at this point, but I feel like the older I get, like by the time I reach, maybe 42 or something, I feel like maybe my mentality as a woman, it will have finally matured to the point where I can look at maybe like a salt and pepper 50 something year old billionaire as actually attractive, right? Like and then that will be good for me, right? Cuz then that will bring me closer to like or that will bring me more real concrete opportunity to date and like mingle with men of actual means rather than right now I don't deal with any broke dudes. I ain't saying she's a gold digger, but she's not dealing with no broke but I'm not dealing with any broke dudes, but they're not like at the millionaire or billionaire level because I can't. That's my Achilles heel. That's my limitation. Like I am age-wise, it does work, I guess, because I am 36, literally, so it wouldn't be necessarily weird if I linked up with a 50-year-old, but also because I look so young on the outside, I still feel like there's a gap where it's like, okay, unless you're literally buying me, like, a house and a car within the first 5 dates, I don't feel the motivation to deal with, like, an old visibly old-looking guy, no matter how much money he has, right? Like, it's just too much work in my opinion, unless he's like very, very generous from the get-go or like very forthcoming about trying to impress me. But yeah, most of them are not. Like they're getting very, very stingy these days. I hear that sugar dating is kind of going through a whole dynamic shift in that world as well because things are just changing. Times are changing. Men and women are both getting more like inflexible with their standards or they're getting more suspicious because of all the scammers that are out there, and for good reason. I mean, if you're smart, right, you're going to adjust your strategy to the trend of the times. But yeah, so if anything, I feel like I'm finally like I'm not even there yet. I'm still so far away from the age where I can actually realistically go after a 50 or a 60-year-old billionaire as like my true peer, right? Or as someone that I could legitimately be attracted to. Look, I'm simply not. I'm not attracted to 60-year-olds right now as a 36-year-old. So in that sense, like relative to that cohort of people, the 60-year-old billionaires like the Jeff Bezos of the world, I'm still super young. I'm still like a baby to them. So no, I don't think about aging at all. And I don't really know what she was trying to imply there. But it's funny because, like, when I brought up the fact that, well, it doesn't really apply to me because I look so young and people assume that I'm 25 anyways, she's like, immediately, and again, um, she wasn't doing this in any type of like catty way towards me. She's actually a very sweet girl. That's why I'm like torn. I had to come to YouTube. Shit, what the hell? My hair dryer. Yeah, my hair straightener just fell. Okay. But um God, what was I saying? Yeah, I feel conflicted because it's like I really think that she's a sweet girl and she hasn't shown me any like animosity. She hasn't shown that she's two-faced towards me in particular. But the thing is, like, it doesn't matter, because when they're insecure, it's a subconscious thing that happens. Like sooner or later, she's gonna do something. Not maybe not necessarily to betray me or anything that dramatic, but something is gonna come out where I'm gonna have to draw the line that, yeah, okay, this is not acceptable. Like I can't continue to really be close with or socialize with this person at a close level because, like I said, all they do is cope when they're talking to you. So no matter what you give them, like even if you try to dumb down or play down your amazing experiences as an moving through this world as an attractive magnetic woman, if you try to play it down, then they assume falsely that you're like closer to their level. They assume that you actually have a pygmisha or more of like a normal insecure, good girl type of mindset, like you're always trying to prove yourself to people. That doesn't work, right? Because it's like they're wrong. That's not the mindset that you come from. So then they try to talk to you, they try to like build a common bond with you, um, or they try to find common ground based on, oh, okay, so now they think that now I can talk to her about like my struggles, and then she's gonna understand me, and we're gonna like build a common bond about how we experience similar, I don't know, just discrimination or hardships at work because of being a woman. Like it's not the case for me. So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, right? If I play down my experiences as an attractive woman, they think that my experience is closer to them, which is not true. If I don't play down my experiences and I just come out and very bluntly talk about how great my life is, then it looks like I'm bragging or that I'm like trying to level with them or alpha dog them or something, right? Like it comes across in their minds as if I'm trying to like place myself above them because I'm talking about, oh, life is amazing. Like men want to take me out to lunch all the time. My male coworkers, they're constantly like clamoring to have lunch with me, pay for my lunch. They're constantly trying to give me a ride if it's a guy that has a car. I have like random men that I linked with that I'm friends with on LinkedIn that are always trying to like periodically check in to see if I need a job. They're always trying to like get me to my next job or to my next opportunity because they want to take the credit for that, right? Like they want to know that they had a hand in helping this pretty girl get a leg up in her career. All of these things, if I just like unleash all the amazing experiences that come with being an attractive, desirable woman, then it comes across as if I'm like shitting on them or something. Cause I know for a fact that they don't have half the experiences that I have, with people just coming up to me and handing me things or like wanting to hand me the best in life just because that's how I look like and that's the energy that I radiate. So obviously I'm going to attract those experiences to me. But it's like, yeah, if I talk about it unfiltered, then I always I can see that they visibly get like uncomfortable, or they're um, even if they don't have jealousy towards me, it manifests in a negative way, right? Like they might internalize it to feel like, okay, well, I can't do that, or I can't have the same experiences as her because I'm not as conventionally as attractive as her. And or they just, what often happens like in the moment, while we're still on the date together, is that they cope, right? So when I answered her as humbly but also as truthfully as possible about the age question, that, oh, I don't really think about it, like I think 30s are the new 20s. I was trying to be very general, right? Like everyone should think this way, like 30s are the new 20s, just take good care of yourself. I'm just focused on like my fitness and my health and whatnot, just giving this very generic um kumbaya type of answer. And then the one place where I feel like, okay, again, I don't think it's even that big of a deal, but I did say that, the one part that I was kind of truthful about was that people often assume that I'm way, way younger than I actually am, right? So I'm like, people assume that I'm 25 anyways, so I don't really feel a difference in the way that they treat me. So immediately, right, she latches on to that this is how they cope. It's like very unconscious, or it's very subconscious, but she immediately tries to challenge that by saying, "Well, wait a minute. So do you think that, like, don't you ever get annoyed? Don't you get pissed off if people assume that you're super young? Do you think that, like, they're more dismissive towards you, or um like immediately she was trying to counter all of my positive experiences about being perceived as younger than I am with, well, what about the negative side of that? Like trying to remind me that, well, it can't all be positive. I'm sure that, don't you get annoyed when men, for example, they try to prey on, like, they if they assume that you're 25 and they approach you and they're much older, isn't that creepy, right? The fact that they assume that you're so young, so they're basically like hoping to prey on a younger girl. Or some people, like, don't you dislike it when people dismiss you at work because they assume you're young so that you don't know what you're talking about? And I'm like, first of all, that doesn't happen either. Like, okay, the men thing, that's a separate story, but um no, it doesn't really happen because even though I look young, I move around, I move through the world with the confidence of a 36-year-old woman who's comfortable in her own skin, who knows her worth. Um, I was literally working for like one of the top luxury fashion labels last year in December, and I quit that job because of power harassment. Because I don't care how prestigious your company is. I'm not going to stay there if I'm being mistreated, right? And not only that, I even said to one of my coworkers there at the time, when he was like trying to imply that, we don't really we don't have anywhere to go, and it's not really a good idea to quit because there's no fashion label that is higher than ours. These are his exact words. I'm telling the story without saying the actual name of the company, obviously, to protect my own privacy. But I literally looked him in the face and I said, if it doesn't work out here, then I'll just go to insert another luxury fashion brand. I said that with him. I said that to him without skipping a beat. So, like, let's say I was working at company A before, and now I'm working at company B in the luxury fashion space, right? And so he's like, well, there's company A is like the most prestigious brand that there is in fast moving consumer goods, which is not true. But anyway, from his perception, that was the truth. So, in response to that, I said without missing a beat that I will just go work for company B then. And of course, at that point, like, I had no other job prospects. I had no idea that I was being, like, I was being truthful, but I had no idea that I would actually come across an opportunity to work for company B, which is the exact company that I work for now. That's where my new job is. The people in my membership know what company B and what company A are. But like, so I literally spoke that into existence, that I'll work for company B if it doesn't work out at company A. And like, it's so crazy because the job that I thought I was going to get before this company B offer came through, I legitimately thought I was gonna get this other job that was in a completely different industry. So it was actually for a trucking industry. It was like Mitsubishi Fuso. So under the Mitsubishi group, but it's like a big trucking company in Japan, and they needed someone for their IT team. And the manager for that project really really liked me, and she also really needed a woman on the team because the rest of the people were guys. So like she really wanted to bring me on, but then they had some internal changes in their HR department, which led them to delay my offer, my official offer, for 3 months. Right. So at the 3 month mark, both me and my recruiter that I interviewed for this company, the trucking company, through, we were getting like very impatient, and we my recruiter emailed them on my behalf asking, hey, we understand that there's been organizational changes, but can we get the ball rolling on Ren's contract, because it's already been 3 months. Like, we can't just keep our candidate continuing to wait for this long. She has other opportunities that she's interviewing for, like she's in high demand, so you're gonna have to lock her down quickly if you really want her. And then they responded like very passive aggressive and very defensive, like, don't email us directly, or yeah, like, don't push us about this matter, we will email you when we're ready. So even though like this is so the team that pushed back on us is separate from the actual hiring manager of the team that wanted to hire me, right? Like, that individual manager, she expressed very explicitly that she wanted to bring me onto her team, but because of the organizational changes, and I guess like the changes in HR policy at the company, um she didn't have any influence over that. So that's why my onboarding was delayed for 3 months. And then eventually, like, while I was waiting for that trucking company to get their stuff together and to actually like get my contract together, that's when I came across, like, that's when my recruiter introduced to me this new opportunity at company B, which is a rival to company A, who I used to work for in December. And she was like, hey, they're looking for someone that has your skills and your particular expertise. So I interviewed, and obviously I got the job because I already spoke it into existence 6 months ago. Like, this is my life. Okay. And I know it looks like, okay, wow, she has it so easy. Everything she wants just comes to her so effortlessly. She wins beauty pageant awards even without trying, or without even looking her best on that day. Like, I was feeling bloated. I didn't feel like I looked the most beautiful that day, although I know I'm beautiful all the time. But, like, on the day of the pageant, I really wasn't expecting anything. And I got, I was pleasantly surprised. I think it's because I was so detached that I won actually the last award that they announced. Like, I thought they were done announcing the awards. And also, this particular award, the photogenic award, it wasn't listed on their little projector, like, PowerPoint presentation that they had. So I thought by the time they got to the end of the list of awards and they called another girl, I was like, oh, okay, that's it, whatever. It was another nice evening where I got to wear another beautiful Chinese qipao gown. I'm happy about that. But then all of a sudden the announcer is like, and finally, last but not least, the best photogenic award goes to Ren. And I was like, I looked like Beyonce when she won that best country album or whatever award. I think it was last year at the VMAs or something, or the Grammys. Was it the Grammys? Could have been the Grammys. But yeah, I looked exactly like that Beyonce meme where she was like, you could tell she was genuinely not expecting to win this particular award. So yeah, that's like, again, sorry, to get back to my point, I can't talk about this freely and naturally the way that I do on these live streams to a girl that is like less secure, or she's not at the level that I am at yet in terms of manifestation and her own self-concept. Because like all they do in general, I'm not trying to, again, harp on this girl in particular, but all they do is like cope subconsciously. Even if they think, or like, even if they try to be friendly, or they're genuinely not trying to like be jealous or anything, but it's just something that happens subconsciously because you guys are not on the same wavelength. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's inevitable almost. It's very sad to say, but it's almost like um they're uncomfortable. Both of you are uncomfortable with this space between you guys, right? Like I'm up here in terms of my self-confidence and she's down here. So it's like they try to, the one that is on the lower plane of existence or thinking is always going to try to like somehow, whether subtly or explicitly, try to bring you down on their level. Not necessarily because they're like trying to put you in your place or anything, but because it just feels uncomfortable to have you on different levels when you're together one on one, you know, having this interaction together. So that's why like when you're with a girl that's on your same level, there's no tension because you both see eye to eye on things, right? And you have similar experiences, and you can attest to each other's like respective experiences as an attractive, desirable, magnetic person that moves through this world. And then similarly, if you're at a high enough level and you constantly try to put yourself like this is you, and if you try to actively seek out people that are a little bit higher than you, if you're at the level to where you at least you're conscious of um you know your wounds and like maybe your triggers, and you are aware of maybe yeah, like your tendency to, I guess, feel insecure in the presence of someone who is so far ahead of you or they're so much more successful than you. If you are at least conscious, then you can at this level, you can socialize with the person on the even higher level because you know how to check yourself, right? Like you know how to use the image of the more successful person as your own motivation to get to their level instead of like you're already past the point of insecurity and the good girl programming. You are past that, what's the word? Oh my god. Paradigm. So you're in a high enough paradigm to where you can learn from the person that's ahead of you while also being conscious of like, okay, make sure not to, you know, fall into your old habits of like, don't like you if you find yourself, for example, making excuses as to why that person is more successful than you, if you find yourself thinking that, well, they came from a more well-off family or they had a better um head start in life because they had access to better opportunities, you can check yourself once you're conscious, right? Like you can check yourself by thinking, wait a minute, let's not go there. You know, it really doesn't matter whether or not they came from a more advantageous background. The fact of the matter is that their success, their level that they're at right now, you want to emulate that, right? So use them as a case study, use them as your motivation, um, use them as your blueprint to create, recreate, or the same or similar success for yourself. But when you're at that pygmesia, like seeking for validation level, still it's hard because you're not conscious yet. A lot of your limiting beliefs and your insecurity are still running in your subconscious. And so this is the reaction that I find happens a lot when I hang out with girls that are not quite fully realized in their um and like who have not fully realized their value in this world, and they're not like they're still trying to people please, they're still trying to be the nice girl, they still care about not being seen as the villain, not being seen as arrogant or whatever. Like it's a pattern, you know, like I'm not just speaking off of this one off experience with this one friend. It happens over and over again whenever I interact with girls that are just not quite at that level yet in terms of their sense of self-worth. And yeah, it just makes me kind of bummed out. So, you know, this girl, she was immediately trying to like I'm not gonna say she was threatened, but I could tell that it was uncomfortable for her. Sorry, I'm gonna take this off because I feel like it's choking me. But it was uncomfortable for her to hear me say only good things, only good experiences that I've had so far with my age. Like there's only good things that can come from looking from being a woman who is in your 30s and you know exactly who you are, you're more confident than ever, you're more confident, you love your body as well more than ever. But at the same time, you look 10 years younger and people react to you as if you're 10 years younger than you actually are. Like, there's pretty much zero downsides to that, you know? Because it's not like I'm young. It's not like I'm perceived as young enough to where people think I'm in high school or something. Like, that would actually be concern for maybe attracting some creeps. But I'm already, like, I'm past the age where I could be mistaken for someone underage. So there's only positives that come from being 36 and people thinking you're 26. But I could tell that was like so uncomfortable for her. It was so not congruent with her current reality that she's living, that she automatically reacted by like trying to counteract, or yeah, like trying to negate that with the scenario of, oh, but what if people treat you like you're immature, or they brush you off, like they dismiss your expertise in the workplace and whatever. And I'm like, first of all, I don't gotta prove shit in the workplace, because again, my halo effect alone, people just love me, okay? Whether I'm good at my job or not, which, granted, I do take my job seriously. I am proud of the position that I'm holding now. I am dedicated and I'm serious about doing a good job and about growing at this particular role. But even if I wasn't, even if I was just mediocre, people like me and they love having me on their team automatically, whether they're a man or a woman, because I'm so attractive. I'm always smiling. I greet everyone. I look everyone in the eye and I smile when I walk in the room and say good morning to them. I am very sociable. I'm very good at conversation. I'm very good at yeah, like small talk, whether it's small talk or whether it's talking about the actual issue at hand that we're trying to solve at work. I'm very articulate. People respond very well to me. Like, I don't have those types of problems. How come you have no smile lines, Tammy Williams? You guys are so sweet. I have smile lines. Look. You see it more like I mean, like, I don't have deep set smile lines, but I definitely have smile lines, or they're emphasized like later on in the day. If you see me, if I'm out the entire day and I've been like sweating and stuff trying to get on and off the train, then sometimes I'll have like my foundation settles into my lines. But this is a really good foundation, so maybe that's another reason why. This is why I'm passionate about makeup as well. A Muse foundation, and this is the Hello Kitty collaboration, which I've been using every single day. This is their DEU Power Vegan Cushion Foundation. It's extremely long lasting, full coverage. It gives you glass skin. Like, you can see, it gives me that really glowy look, and it doesn't dry down and like settle in your fine lines. So makeup, good good quality makeup helps. Maybe do a live on how women should be in corporate, i.e. soft skills. Yeah, I can do a live on that. The Amuse Do Power Vegan Foundation. I have a review on it on my channel. You can find the link in the description bar, but let me type it here. Do Power Vegan Cushion. Use my Yes Style code if you want to get some. I don't remember how many percentage off, but if you want to get a discount. Yeah, no problem. So yeah, she was like, "Oh, but don't you get annoyed when people treat you like a little girl?" And I'm like, "Actually, no, because even the people that treat me like, okay, yes, I have had very limited, very few occasions where I did feel like maybe someone was a little more dismissive than they would have been if they knew my real age, right? Like the fact that they thought I was in my early 20s. They came at me with the energy of how you would speak to a 20 something year old. Or they were like dismissive towards me. But the thing is, like, I don't internalize what other people decide to do as like my problem, First of all, so there's a couple of points to this. First of all, that's not my problem if somebody dismisses me because I look young, because that means that that person has a problem of, like, they think that they can treat younger people differently or with a different amount of respect than they would somebody older, which is not something that I do, right? I try to treat everyone with respect, and I come at everyone with the same you know, energy and respect, and I will respect your boundaries, etc. Or I will be compassionate. As long as you are being respectful and polite to me, I will return the same to you. So if somebody automatically treats me a certain way that's unfavorable because they assume I'm younger, then that is 100%. First of all, number one, that's 100% that person's problem. And number two, it's still not a problem if it's not like affecting, okay, if it's not directly impacting my paycheck, my money, why would I give any energy to that whatsoever? Like, why would I let that upset me at all? If anything, I would still just take it as positive confirmation that, wow, I look so young that apparently people, some of these older disgruntled people think that they can just brush me to the side the same way that they would to a college student or something, right? Like, wow, she's gaslighting you. Yeah, like, I don't, so this is the thing. I 100% do not believe that that was her intention, but it always comes out somehow. They always end up coping, whether they're conscious of it or not, whether they're actively trying to gaslight me or not. Like, the conversation always starts to go in this direction whenever I meet with, or I have like a one-on-one interaction with a girl who is maybe like not as conventionally attractive or not as secure. Exactly. She's projecting her own insecurity. So anyway, I basically wrapped that conversation about the being perceived as younger that I am up. So I wrapped that up by saying that, at the end of the day, I understand that you cannot take the positive without the good, right? So by the okay, so the very fact of somebody perhaps being more dismissive of me or maybe being ruder to me because they think they can get away with it because I look so young. So they think they're dealing with somebody who is super young and doesn't know how to stand up for herself, right? That's the kind of scenario. She was asking me, don't you feel some type of way? Like, don't you find it annoying when you run into that situation as an older woman who looks a lot younger? Um, my response to that is that the very fact, okay, yeah, the very fact that that can happen to me is further proof of how young I look, which I prefer to look younger than look older, right? Because okay, so like, why would I complain about that if I'm complaining about, oh, some people treat me um, disrespectfully because I look young? Then what am I saying there? I'm saying that I want to look older so that people treat me with respect, right? But that's not what I want. I want to look young forever. Forever young. I want to be forever young. And like, I don't have any qualms about aging. Like, I think women are beautiful at any age, or um yeah, like, as long as you're healthy and you take care of yourself, we all know that women are desirable at any age, even if they have a few wrinkles or whatever. You can still look good. You can still look sexy and desirable. Look at Kris Jenner. I mean, she's literally like, is she 70 or 69? And she just got her new facelift or whatever, which some people don't agree with, but she literally looks like 30 right now. And I think the surgeon did a really good job, so good for her, you know? But it's just like we don't have the same mentality, and she was projecting her own insecure mentality on me, like, and this is what I'm saying, like, I can't blame her. At this point in my life, like, I can only feel compassion because I know when by asking me that question, she wasn't trying to gaslight me. She was just revealing her own mentality to me, which I find sad. So she thinks that, like, she has the type of mentality where whatever advantage that she has in life, she cannot help but have her mind go directly to the negative scenario, And I think that that's also, like, okay, not to get too deep into this, but it's kind of like a survival instinct almost, because it's like this fear to be seen. Like, before you um step into this new level where you fully own your power and your beauty, as a woman. I feel like another place that a lot of especially younger girls in their 20s get tripped up is that they are afraid to be seen because they see so many examples of women like suffering or being punished for acknowledging their own beauty or for being unapologetic about how much they can get in life just based on their looks, their charisma, etc. Like all the cards that they have to play as a beautiful, desirable, attractive woman, right? And I feel like a lot of younger girls they focus on, I guess, like the witch hunting type of tactics that a lot of these women have to suffer, and in order to protect themselves subconsciously they try to like they overinflate the negative aspects that come with being a beautiful woman. But the thing is, like, as long as you educate yourself and if you're smart and you know how to read people and you know how to like deal with people, this is a skill also that you have to develop as you grow more visible and more desirable in the eyes of the public. You have to believe in yourself, right? That you're going to be able to field all of these different energies that start to come at you once you become more attractive. Sorry. Beauty is currency in the patriarchy. Women looking young is a plus. So she's asking for advice. No, yeah, so, like, asking for advice, but then it's a cope, right? Because it's like they ask it, but, like, they know. I feel like okay, I really oh my god, I feel so bad talking about this girl, but yeah, I think, it's clear that I'm gonna be cautious about meeting up with her from now on because it left me feeling really weird, our encounter. It's like they ask for advice, but it's just another cope because they're trying to play it cool basically. Like they're trying to keep the conversation going and play it cool and not let on so much. They see how confident you are, so now they feel like kind of out of place. They feel like a fish out of water because they're like, "Oh, okay, now I can't reveal too much of my insecurity because then I'll be like it'll be too obvious that I'm like so down here with my mindset and she's so up here." So they cope in all these different ways. And like one of the ways is that they'll ask for advice, but like subconsciously she knows the answer, right? And neither of us can say the answer out loud. Neither of us can say the real answer out loud because it would just be too uncomfortable. Like it would highlight the difference between me and her in terms of like I'll just say it in terms of in this case, a lot of the things that she was asking about and she was hoping to hear that I was struggling in some area or that I could give her advice in how to deal with certain struggles that she was dealing with in her life, right? But the thing is, I don't deal with certain struggles that she deals with because I am kind of like considered the top, I don't want to say the top 10% or whatever, but I'm considered highly attractive, highly desirable with the way that I present, the way that I look. Like the fact that I look younger, the fact that I have a aesthetically pleasing face. So I've been told I have a really, really hourglass body. I'm thin. I'm even trying to lose a couple of pounds because, like, okay, look, I'm thin, right? But I don't know. I feel like I'm skinny fat. So I would love to tone up a little bit. Like, I have a fitness plan and I would like to lose maybe like 2 kilos because I feel like that would take away some of the bloat in my face. And I want to be able to layer clothes in the winter while still looking thin and chic and whatever. But I can't even like say that, right, to her because she's obese. She has to be at least 200 pounds. I'm going to say at least 250 because honestly, I'm going to tell you, okay, I'm not trying to be mean, but I was shocked when she told me that she lost 15 kilos because if she told me that she had gained 15 kilos, like I would not have blinked an eye. She still looked huge to me. Um, which I don't have a problem with, right? If it's a bigger woman who is completely confident with herself and has no problem with her weight and she finds herself beautiful, she loves her body, then we can get along, right? Cuz we both in that case we would both have the same level of high regard for ourselves physically. But this girl like obviously doesn't. She wants to lose more weight, which good for her. I was so like when she told me that she lost 15 pounds, I immediately was like hyping her up. Like that's amazing. Like you are doing so much better than me. But then I had to stop myself because I was like, wait, I can't talk about wanting to lose 2 pounds when I'm already so much thinner and like so much more embodying the ideal, size as compared to her, when she's obviously trying to work on herself. And this is obviously like a pain point for her, the fact that she is overweight. Because then she also started to talk about how people assume that fat people are non-hygienic or that they're lazy, but in actuality, she has always been an active person, right? Like, for example, she was saying how in university, people would assume that because she's fat, she's lazy, and she probably has like bad eating habits or she eats junk food. But in reality, she said that she was the only girl, or she was the only person in her friend group that would go to the gym on a regular basis, and like she did all this research on nutrition to like she's very good at being disciplined, I guess, with how she eats, or how to eat a nutritionally balanced meal, which I believe. But the thing is, like, why did she go into that whole story? Again, it's like cope, right? She's remembering that all the struggles that she had as a fat person, just by us touching on the subject of weight. And then like me holding back, whether I held back on telling her my real goals or whether I just, shut up, which I did after I said that, oh, you're better than me because like I'm also trying to get healthy. But like I stopped it there, right? I was about to say, oh, I want to lose like 2 kilos, but then I was like, wait a minute, let me not mention any details about exactly how many pounds or kilos I want to lose, because I feel like that might trigger her. But then it's like whether I say it or not, it does trigger her, right? Just by the fact that it's so glaringly obvious, the difference between our bodies. So I think, again, that's why she went into that story about how how she was big all of her life, and how she thought it was so funny that people assume that people who are fat are lazy and never work out, because ever since she was in high school or in university, she always went to the gym consistently. And it's like, you know, why does she feel the need to say that to me, right? Because first of all, you don't have to prove that to me. Like, I'm your friend. But the fact that she felt the need to justify herself and to prove that, hey, I know I'm fat, like I know I look this way on the outside, but I'm a very hygienic person, I'm very like on top of it, I put in a lot of effort when it comes to my fitness. And it's like, yeah, I believe you. And you could have just left it as at the fact that you lost 15 pounds. Like, that's an amazing feat. But then she felt the need to like overcompensate by telling me how she was so disciplined about going to the gym ever since she was in university. The moment that I participated in talking about that subject with her, right? So do you see what I mean? I feel like, your hands are so tied when it comes to interacting with girls that are insecure or still in their pick me mentality. What's your fitness goal? I don't have like a concrete goal, but I do want to lose 2 kilos at least. And like I just want to get a better handle on food noise as well. So yeah, I just want to eat healthier and eat more whole foods, like eat a more balanced meal. And I learned that restriction really doesn't work well for me, just like my psyche. And I don't want to say trauma because it wasn't like serious or anything, but I was always a very rebellious kid. So I associate any type of order, any type of like organization, I associate it with adults trying to tell me what to do. Because that's what I always hated so much when I was a kid and I felt suffocated. Like whenever anything, when you're in, when you're in school and like you play during the recess or the free period, and then the teacher comes around to remind everyone 5 minutes before the period is up that, okay, you have to put away your toys and your coloring books. You have to clean up your space because we got to get ready for the next class. I resented and I hated like all of that because I felt like, I just didn't like the feeling of people telling me what to do. So that was something that I really had to like come to terms with. I had to during my like inner work process, I uncovered that as the reason for a lot of my messiness and disorganization in many areas of my life. So, like for example, you can probably tell even just from this limited view, I'm a very disorganized person. I have a lot of clutter. Like it's a struggle for me to keep things organized because I feel like, when I tell myself to organize my room, it feels like that fifth grade teacher telling me to organize my toys and put them away, which I don't want to do. So I had, as an adult, I have to remind myself that we're not in the 5th grade anymore and like nobody is trying to control you. This is for your own comfort, right? If you clean your room, if you keep your things organized, then you can you know, then you're gonna benefit later from a nice, clean, relaxing room, and you're gonna be able to relax and move around quicker. You can find whatever you're looking for quicker, like you're not gonna lose your eyeliner or whatever constantly every morning. So as an adult, I have to remind myself, like when I start to feel resistance and I start to resist doing things that are good for me, I need to remind myself that I'm doing it for my own good and my own benefit. I'm not doing it because I have to, or somebody is like trying to control me. So the same thing with exercise. I always felt like, I don't like to exercise. And I didn't grow up in a household, unfortunately, that taught me how to enjoy exercise. So I have a lot of like, negative memories from gym because I didn't like to exercise. I didn't like the feeling of like being pushed to the brink physically. And then I was always like the slowest person. So whenever we would have that day where we had to run a mile or something, I always just felt like it was miserable because I didn't want to be out there outside running on the track. And then I was always like one of the last ones. So now as an adult, in order to combat that, first of all, I had to discover what I actually enjoyed doing, which is walking. So first and foremost, walking, but also I like to take dance classes because it doesn't feel like exercise that way. So I need to make sure that like I'm doing something fun, which is why I do pole dancing. And then I also I walk at least 10,000 steps a day. So actually, I prefer 12,000. I'm aiming for like average of 12,000 per day. And can you give advice on inner work? So I'm doing that right now by just walking you through my own like thought process, right? This is how this is a good example of how I am undoing that trauma, so to speak. Because trauma is not always like this huge, horrible thing like sexual trauma or something, which does happen to people and it's horrible. But like when you say trauma, it can be something just as simple as just anything in like the way that you interpreted things in childhood, it carries over to your adulthood. If you don't address it head on, then it will kind of like subconsciously run things in your life under the radar, and it oftentimes results in you limiting yourself, right? Or you like not taking the actions that would be in your best interest because you're still interpreting things from that mindset that you had as a child. So in my case, like any time that I had to follow a schedule or do anything that required discipline, I interpreted that as like in my subconscious, in my child brain, I interpret that as adults or authority figures trying to impose rules on me that I don't want to follow or that I don't want to listen to, right? Or like I just resented the thought, or I resented whenever people would tell me or order me to do something, especially if they didn't give me a good reason. I was the type of child where this is just my personality. I felt like, why? Why should I do it just because you say it? Like that part about being a kid, I really resented the fact that I had to do things just because an authority figure told me to do it, whether it was a teacher or a parent. So even like, when my mom told me to clean up my room, I would get really annoyed because it's like, first of all, if I wanted to clean my room, I want to have the freedom and the autonomy to do that on my own time. So why won't you let me do it by myself, right? The moment that somebody tells me to clean my room, because I have a rebellious spirit, I automatically want to do the opposite. I will purposely like not clean my room just to stick it to the man, so to speak. So that's why that carried over into adulthood to where I'm still like I'm a I'm naturally very cluttered and disorganized at home. So like when I walk in the door, I like to, if I'm wearing a jacket, I'll throw it on the floor before I hang it up on a hanger, right? Which is not beneficial to me as an adult. So it feels good to me because it feels like I'm that 5-year-old again who gets to flout authority or like just give the middle finger in the face of authority. Like, yeah, I'm gonna throw this sweater on the ground now and I'm not gonna put it on the hanger. It feels good at like a visceral level, but I have to remind myself, right? Because I'm not a 5-year-old child anymore, being commanded by the adults to clean up my space. I am now a 36-year-old woman that I rent this apartment by myself and I'm responsible for myself and all of the adulting things in my life. So if I walk in the door of my apartment that I pay for, that this space that I have to live in, and I throw my jacket on the ground, well, that only is detrimental to me in the long run, right? Because now I gotta deal with a messy floor and I'm stepping over my sweater. And do you see how like I have to literally remind myself of this sometimes, that because in the moment I feel like the instinct is to throw the sweater on the ground because it feels good. It feels like I'm ignoring my teacher and my parents' orders to be clean and organized, right? But I have to remind myself that's not the scenario anymore. Now you're an adult, you're a big girl now, and you're doing big girl things, working at this amazing job and supporting yourself, living your fabulous single life in the city. So, in order to like have a even better life experience, it actually is beneficial for you to do things like hang your jacket on a hanger when you walk in the door, or rebellion, exactly. Yeah, so anyway, sorry, I got like way off tangent. Okay, so yeah. Oh my god. So this is a good, again, this is a it's just like I don't even know how much more I want to share about my meeting with this girl because there's so much more stuff that we talked about. But like, do you see what I mean? That every step of the conversation, like no matter which direction we take, no matter what topic we land on, it just turns into cope. It turns into like me trying to present my amazing experiences as a really attractive, magnetic woman who a master manifester who is able to manifest so many different amazing opportunities in my life. It's like second nature to me by now, but then it's like I have to water it down for her, and I have to like think about how to package it so that she doesn't feel threatened, so that she doesn't feel bad about herself for not having the same results as me. But then it's like, even if I package it in a palatable way for her, she can still sense on an energetic level that I'm holding back, right? She knows energetically, like we both know that I'm having a different life experience than her. So then she just copes by like subconsciously everything that I say, she'll like react to it in a way that is trying to either invalidate my experience, or she's trying to like fight for representation for her experience, right? Which is not as good as mine. So even with the exercise thing, it's like, we're both talking about our fitness goals, and I feel I'm actually like really, I'm so happy and almost relieved to know that she lost 15 kilograms, because that's a huge amount, right? And for me, it's like, okay, it's different. Obviously, everyone knows that like when you're already thin, the thinner you get, the harder it is to actually lose weight, because it's like your body doesn't see the need to burn this like tiny bit of excess fat off of you. So it's like, is she a Taurus or a Cancer? I actually don't know. I don't know when her birthday is. I was gonna check. Yeah, I you just reminded me I need to check when her birthday is, because I do want to, return the favor on her birthday. She went out of her way to get me a really nice gift. I won't show it, or else you'll know who it is. But yeah, I don't know. But I was happy when she said that she lost 15 pounds, because I was like, oh, okay, finally, this area, like in this area, this weight loss area, she is what's the word? She's indisputably ahead of me in this area, at least, right? Like in this specific category, she lost 15 kilos. I constantly yo-yo back and forth between like 52 and 54 kilos. I would like to stabilize at 52 kilos if possible, but since I'm already like pretty thin, that's the reason why it's hard for me to lose weight. But at least it doesn't matter, like numbers wise, she lost 15 kilos, and you could say that I've only lost like 1 kilo over the past 6 months. So she's categorically winning in this department, right? So I'm like, okay, good. I felt relieved, because I'm like, at least this area in life, she's like ahead of me, right? So I'm thinking it's going to be fine if we stay on this topic of health and getting healthier and more fit and whatever, because I feel like finally she's ahead of me in one area. But then again, when we start going into the the actual, like, exercise regimes and how, you know, our actual plans for ourselves in terms of how we're gonna approach food and fitness and nutrition, again, she starts to do, like, the insecurity starts to flare up again, and she starts to do this leveling thing with me, or like this, what was I calling it? This coping pattern in which, okay, so for example, I was saying that I have the same astro as you, so relatable. You're a Leo, Leo gang. Happy birthday to us. So yeah, I'm like, oh my god, like I just couldn't. I felt like I couldn't say a single thing without her getting defensive in a way, like not outwardly defensive, but from the way that she would responded to me, it was defensiveness, you know? It's not the way that a another woman or another girl who is at the same level as me would have responded. Like, for example, when I said I walk 10,000, preferably 12,000 steps a day, she would say to me, "Oh yeah, I'm walking a lot as well, but I'm not putting pressure on myself, because I feel like I don't want to put pressure on myself or be so rigid as to say I need to walk 10,000 steps a day. Like as long as I average 7,000 or 8,000 in a week, like so over the course of a week, if she averages like 8,000 steps a day, she says that she will consider that a success for her. And I'm like, "Okay, girl, like calm down. I actually when I say 10,000 steps a day, I don't mean that I need to." Well, actually, you know what? Actually, I do walk 10,000 steps a day. I make sure I get 10,000 steps in no matter how busy or how tired I am, no matter how late I come home from work. I make sure it's at least 10,000 steps a day because remember, my magic number is 12,000. That's what I decided for myself this year. So, like, if it's under 12,000, it's fine. I have to walk at least 10,000 a day, but I want my average weekly to be 12,000 a day. This doesn't sound like a friendship rather than associate who's competing with you. Yeah, I mean, that's the million-dollar question I'm trying to answer, like, I was trying to be like, "Okay, you know what? As long as as long as I deal with her at a distance or I deal with her in a very limited capacity, it should be fine," but no, it's like you can't even have a normal conversation without them coping at every step along the way. So, yeah, that I couldn't even talk about, like, walking 10,000 steps a day without her getting defensive and saying that she doesn't wanna put pressure on herself. She's like, "Well, some days if I'm really busy, I'll walk only, like, 3,000 steps, but then the next day, I'll compensate for it by walking 13,000 steps." And I'm like, "Okay, okay, fine. That's great for you. I wasn't, like, implying anything about you by saying that I make sure that I walk 10,000 steps a day, right? Like, that's my standard for myself. I refuse to go below it. From time to time, I do. Like, there's maybe, like, 1 day a week where I cannot do more than, like, 7,000 just because 'cause I'm so busy with work, but when I have one of those days, the next day is always, like, 14,000 at least, and it's not because I'm pushing myself to the brink of exhaustion, it's innate in me because everything stems from my self-love and my high self-confidence. Like, I embody the identity. I identify as a person who is, like, highly committed to her fitness and highly, I prioritize my fitness. I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder or anything, but, um, walking 10,000 steps a day, I feel like that's a bare minimum you can do, right? Especially for someone like me who's always been averse to exercise. I've never been into sports. So for me to like finally find something that I am happy to do, I don't feel like it's, killing me. I have no problem walking, right? Because it's very like it's low intensity, it's enjoyable, and I don't feel like I'm exercising, right? I feel like I'm just taking a stroll and enjoying the scenery around my neighborhood. So I'm going to like with my mindset, I'm going to run with whatever is working for me and whatever feels easy. So I don't associate like making myself reach that 10,000 steps a day as pushing myself too hard is just who I am, right? But, she's the moment that she hears that, she gets like defensive and she's like, "Oh, well, I don't pressure myself to reach 10,000 a day. As long as my average is 10,000, it's fine." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, it's fine. No one said that your technique is has a problem in it. I wasn't trying to say that I was better than you, although like in terms of my self-concept in terms of my baseline level, I am better though, just like objectively in terms of my mindset, because to me 10,000 steps is the bare minimum. But to her, she's like, well, there are days where I can only get in 3,000, and I'm like, that's fine, but again, what do we have to talk about here? Like, we're not at the same level. We can't, we're not really coming at this from the same perspective, right? Because 10,000 to me is like, not, it's not a question even, and I don't feel like I'm pushing myself too hard. In fact, I'm gonna check how much I walked today. Holy crap, it's already 1:30 a.m. Okay, I need to go to sleep soon, but I'll let oh wait, no. Okay, Sunday was 14,000. And then Monday was less because actually it was raining almost all day. So yeah, yesterday it was 6,000. So this is the lowest that it will get this week. So yeah. And then also, like, I was talking to her about, okay, Feel Cycle is this biking class in Japan. I thought it was originated from LA or something, but apparently it was originated in Japan. So it's like this cycling class, essentially, like a high intensity cycling class. And then they advertise it as, they say that you can burn from 400 to 800 calories in 45 minutes. So I'm guessing, like, on average, maybe most people, especially if you're a beginner, you can expect on the lower end of that spectrum, like 500 calories. So anyway, I was talking to her about how I saw that there was a Feel Cycle studio in the station that I get off at for work, right? And I was talking to her about how I was contemplating taking a trial free cycle lesson, or yeah, I was contemplating on like incorporating that into my workout routine, because I felt like that's, although I do enjoy walking and I do my best, I always make sure I get 10,000 steps on average every day. I was open to if there was like a more efficient way to burn calories, right? So Feel Cycle promises that you can burn at least 400 calories, possibly up to 800 in a 45-minute session. That's pretty good, right? That's efficient. Like, so I'm telling her this because, I'm trying to like fast track my weight loss or my fitness goals while still keeping it convenient for me. So the fact that there's a Feel Cycle studio uh, very close to where I work, I'm like, maybe that's perfect. If I'll try it out, and if I like it, that would be like a perfect scenario for me, because then I could just do it uh, right after I get off of work, before I go home. So like, you know, my motivation is still going to be high, right? Because if I go home and I try to motivate myself to join an exercise class, it's not going to happen. The moment I get home, I'm gonna want to watch YouTube. I'm gonna lie in my bed. I'm going to, start playing with my cat. So the fact that the Feel Cycle is next to my workplace, I feel like it's really good, because then I don't have a chance to like overthink or to get into relaxation mode. I can just go straight from work, get in that 45-minute high intensity workout, and then who knows, like maybe it will fast track the weight loss or the fitness goals that I have. And then again, she responds instinctively by coping. And she was like, what did she say? Okay, so she was like, yeah, you're so, I love that we reconnected. Like, I want to meet up with you more, because I feel like we're so similar. Like, both of us are working on our healing journey. And I'm like, okay, I'm not really healing, but okay. She's like, both of us are working on our inner work journey. I'll accept that, right? We are both committed to inner work. We're both very ambitious. And she was like, yeah, so we both like to try new things. I love how you, for example, you were talking about all of the fitness related things you did. And I love how you were doing pole dancing at first, and then you did twerking, and then now you're interested in Feel Cycle. And my thing is like, I'm like, okay, girl, because so stay with me on this, right? You might think that I'm stretching it here, but you have to those who know. Like, if you are a fellow pretty girl, confident girl, Leo, big Leo energy, and you've hung out with insecure people before, you know exactly the type of nuance that I'm describing here. So she's saying that she's like complimenting me, right? And I do believe that she was genuinely trying to compliment me, but it's a subconscious cope because she was saying how she likes that I tried all these new things. And then she was trying to use that as evidence that we're so alike, right? That but then the way that she worded it, she was like, okay, so first you did pole dance and then you switched. So she's implying like I switched from pole dance to twerking, and then now you're thinking about doing feel cycle, the cycling class. She's like, yeah, I love how you just like get all these new interests and you have no problem going for it and trying out new things or picking up a new hobby. But then she was like, "Okay, you're gonna switch from." She was saying that I switched from pole dancing to twerking to feel cycle, and I'm like, I didn't switch from anything. Like I every new thing that I do, I continue to do that thing. Okay, so I didn't stop pole dancing to do twerking. What I did pole dancing and then I got interested in twerking, so I learned how to do that. So now I know how to pole dance and twerk, right? So now I do both. And then in addition to that, the feel cycle thing, I'm interested in that because I'm looking for a way to burn as many calories as possible in as little time as possible so that I can be more efficient about like burning calories and therefore losing weight and therefore reaching my goal weight faster. You understand what I mean? But she was trying to phrase it as if like, "Oh, you're just like you're moving from one to another. Like you did pole dancing, now you're done with that and you moved to twerking. And now, after twerking, you are now walking 10,000 steps a day. And so now you're going to switch to feel cycle." And I'm like, "No, I'm doing everything at once. I'm doing all of those or at the same time if I want to, right? Like I'm multi-talented and I walk in beauty pageants. And I'm gonna, not to the point where I'm like overexerting myself, but and if I want to, if I feel like it, I'm gonna study for an IT certificate that I can use to buff up my resume to make sure that my skills are polished and still commanding like a premium in this job market economy. I do all these things at the same time. Like every new skill that I pick up, I don't just stop. It's not a matter of me just like picking up a new hobby and then doing it for shits and giggles, doing it for the sake of having a new hobby. It's not for the sake of having a hobby. It's everything I do is to elevate and to improve my status in life. Like even the pole dancing, women love that, men love that. I love pole dancing. I love meeting other girls who do pole dancing because they tend to be very like-minded to me, right? In order to do that sport at an intermediate or above level, you have to have a lot of confidence in yourself and particularly like your body, your sensuality. A lot of pole dancers who are intermediate and above, they're very like comfortable and confident in their sexuality, etc. So it's like, yeah, I like meeting the girls through that sport, and it's also um, it is kind of like a draw factor when it comes to men, right? Because they're always very intrigued and interested when I tell them that I do pole dance, but then they know that they can't get access to that unless they really invest in me, right? So I don't show them like my pole dancing videos for free or anything like that. The commitment is to fitness or self-improvement. It's not the thing. Not sure what you mean, but I think you're agreeing with me, right? Like it's not just this thing that I'm preoccupying myself with. It's not just this empty hobby that I'm doing to fill up my time. Like no, yeah. Ether. Is that your name? Ether? I thought it was like Esther, but Ether. That is such a badass name. Like into the ether. Um See, you get it. I don't need I don't need to marry fuel cycle. Fuel cycle. I can do it all. It's like feel cycle as in feelings. But yeah. Um yeah, you get it. See, because we're on the same wavelength, right? But with her, I was just feeling this disconnect the whole time. And I know, I'm like intuitive and astute enough to catch all of these not microaggressions, but, like, all these nuances that happen. I don't know if she herself even knew that she was doing this or if she was even aware, but to me, I'm like, I can spot it a mile away. I'm like, "Okay, so you're coping right now because like, I just told you, all these things that I do, and then now you're feeling threatened." So you in a way, she had to, like, rewrite the story in a way that was palatable to her, right? Because in her mind, she's like, "There's no way that you can be this beautiful, this smart, this talented, have this great of a job and do pole dance and twerk and walk 10,000 miles a day and do feel cycles." So it's like almost again, I feel like it's subconscious, right? I don't think she's doing this I don't think she's aware of what she's doing, but she had to rephrase it as if I was like switching from like, "Oh, you're just I love how you just pick up new hobbies randomly out of nowhere. Like you just did pole dancing and then you switched to twerking and then now you're interested in feel cycle. Like it's the same as me." I'm like, "That's not exactly that's not at all really what I'm talking about, but okay if it makes you feel better." I'm not going to like correct her. I used to model, so my focus was maintaining my figure, not doing one discipline or making Pilates my identity, right? Oh my god, exactly, right? Like, I'm not trying to make feel cycle my identity. The point is to actually, I did correct her a little bit. I was like, "So, I didn't stop doing pole dancing, like, I wanna do feel cycle so that I can get back to the tip-top shape condition that I feel the most comfortable and the most confident in when I pole dance, right? Because like, right now I mean, I can pole dance right now, obviously, I can go to a pole dance class, but I wanted to do feel cycle so that I could, like, drop that stubborn 2 kilos that I'm not happy with as quickly as possible so that I can hurry up and get back to what I really love doing, which is pole dancing and twerking sometimes. And then walking is part of something more holistic, exactly. Now she sounds like an Aquarius, but let me stop making enemies on the internet. Yeah, I really wanna know. I'm really curious too now. Let me see if I can find, like, a birthday post so that I can ballpark when she was born. Again, this is she's a really sweet girl and she's never given me any indication of like actually competing with me or feeling jealous of me in any way, but it's just I'm wary, right? Cuz like these types of dynamics between girls never turn out good for me. And like I might not necessarily get backstabbed in the process, but it's just not comfortable. And I feel like what's the point in it if it's not comfortable for me and her? Like I'd rather just wait for her to like maybe I'd rather wait for her to like realize on her own or like maybe something catastrophic has to happen such as she finds out that her boyfriend's cheating on her or even better he breaks up with her cuz after he gets his money up and realizes the type of woman that he can actually attract now with his savings that he was able to save because she's been doing 50-50 with him. And like not that I wish anything bad on her, but I want women all over the world. I want the pygmies to wake up, and I know that we can't save all of them, but it just breaks my heart when I like when I actually have a vested emotional interest in someone in real life. Sorry, I'm like, oh my god, I'm blanking on her Instagram name. Oh, here it is. Okay. I'm gonna try to find out her birthday so that you can diagnose either. It sounds like the cycle place fits into your life being so close to work. Exactly. It fits into my life. It's not like Yeah, it's not like I'm trying to make that my new identity. No, it's a means to an end. I have a very specific goal for my fitness but anyway, the thing is like I actually I don't care at the end of the day, if it makes her feel better to perceive me in this way, if it makes her feel better to rewrite all of my ambitions and like the amazing manifestations and all the success that I get, all of the accolades and the social favor that I receive in my life, however way she wants to frame it to help her cope better with the fact that she's not getting the same level of life experience as me, despite probably even, I don't know, like she might actually make more money than me. Her boyfriend makes more money than me. So, like, despite having more savings than me, or maybe even being better off than me financially, it doesn't matter because it's like at the end of the day, she still cannot compete with me in terms of like my appearance. And that's just the cold hard truth. But yeah. God, I have no idea. Let me see her tagged pictures, if somebody tagged, like, her in a birthday picture. No, I have no idea. I'm gonna search her name on the internet. Oh my god. Not trying to stalk anyone here, but yeah, I feel bad. I can't ask her because, like, she remembered exactly my birthday, which I'm kind of confused about because I feel like I never told her my exact day. So that means that she went out of her way to, like, note it down from previous years, which, like, I don't think that's, like, a creepy obsessive thing. I think that means that she was genuinely trying to be a good friend. Like, that's what I do with my really close friends. I make a note of their birthdays, so I genuinely feel bad. I don't remember when her birthday is. I don't think it's anywhere near mine, but god damn it. If I had to go off of vibes, I would say Taurus, which I think was your first guess, Ether. But yeah, okay, I need to go soon. So I wanted to, the last point that I wanted to talk about is that this happens with, so this is not just something that happens when I interact with, like, less conventionally attractive women or women that are not as secure with themselves. This goes for any person across the board who is not secure. So, for example, I I don't even wanna talk about this guy because he grossed me out so much when I was, like, I went on a date with this guy on one of my Dubai trips, not the most recent one, but the one before that, so I guess during New Year's last year, and, I could do an entire 3-hour, 4-hour live stream on the date that I had with this guy alone, or just the whole interaction I had with him, but I felt like, you know what? He's not even worth it because I was so annoyed. Okay, so super insecure guy, right? Tried to play it cool at first, as they all do, but quickly started unraveling in front of me after he saw me in person and realized that there's no way that a girl as attractive as me would realistically consider him as a potential mate. I only went out with him because I needed him to give me a ride to my next appointment because I was meeting with my real estate advisor friend. She's, like, French and mixed and super hot, model-esque. So naturally, we get along like peas in a pod. I always visit her every time I go to Dubai. So I was meeting with her, like, later that night at 8 p.m. because she was working that day. So I was like, no problem, girl. I'll meet you at your place of work. To that place of work, I scheduled a date with this guy off of not Tinder, off of Bumble. And I timed it so that he would be able to drop me off at her place of work at the end of the date. So he took me to the freaking food court in the mall, which, like, whatever. I was not, so this guy, his purpose was to bring me to my friend, right? Which later on I totally realized that, there are some cases where it's more worth it for me as a woman to just pay the money for a taxi and, like, not even deal with low vibrational energy vampire beings such as this one. But yeah, I don't want to get into, again, I could do a whole live stream on this guy alone, but I feel like it's not worth it because he's just such a loser. I wonder if I have a picture. And, like, I don't like to be so harsh with people. Like, I'm at the point where, if a dusty is trying to hit me up or bother me or something, I basically just block, delete, and keep it moving, right? Like, I don't gain anything by dragging them on the internet or doxing them or whatever. Like, they already took too much of my attention just by that one unsolicited message, right? So the best thing for me to do is just to block and delete and keep it moving. I have way better things to focus on than to, like, bring down a dusty. But since, in this case, it was my choice to go on a date with this guy against my better judgment because I wanted a free ride and I wanted free lunch, and also, like, I wanted to treat my friend. Um, After her work, I wanted to treat her to a drink. So I thought, why not save some money by having a guy buy me my main meal of the day. So he took me to the food court for lunch, which I was like, okay, whatever. And then he took me to shisha too afterwards, which I got deathly sick from. So that was definitely the universe telling me to stop reaching around in the dust bowl for free favors, because you're at the point where it's actually more worth it for you to just spend money for somebody to do the actual service for you and then get out of your hair. But nevertheless, I'm trying to find his picture. I feel like I swear I kept. Oh my god. No, I definitely have a screenshot of his Bumble profile, but I don't think I can. I want to show you guys. A lot of people underestimate how frugal Leos can be. I had to be, Ether. I had no choice at that point because I was freshly unemployed. Like, I quit my job and then I ran off to Dubai, as I usually do when shit hits the fan. And then when I want to, ignore reality and ignore my adulting duties for a bit, and then I came back and got to work and secured my new fancy big girl job. And now I'm truly operating on all cylinders because like I'm back to almost. So I'm still waiting, like pending verification of my documents and everything for this other job. But like I have my main job now, and then my YouTube AdSense revenue, as well as my and also the affiliate links and everything that I have through my YouTube. Which thank you guys always for using my code for Amazon and YesStyle. And I also have like a part-time online like AI training, whatever, some data related job that I'm waiting for confirmation from, because I applied a week ago, and then they asked me to upload like proof of graduating from my college, so diploma and passport and everything. So I'm waiting for that. I'm pretty sure it's going to go through, and then once I get the confirmation for that, I will have three main sources of income, like three immediate sources of income, not including my 401k and all of that. But that's the level that I was at my peak earning a few years back before my dad passed away. That was when I was like on top of everything. I had the three sources of income and everything was going well. After my dad died, that's when everything was thrown into disarray. And I quit the job that I had at the time. I was able to skate by for half a year because of the severance pay that they gave me. But then I found the other job with the luxury brand company A, but then that turned out to be a really toxic environment. So I left that one. And then, yeah, now I finally I've landed at company B, the luxury brand where I actually belong. And I've had YouTube the entire time, but like now finally I'm close to securing my third stream of income. So I feel like I'm operating truly on all cylinders and no one can tell me anything. And I'm winning beauty pageants out here. Like, come on. And I'm going to be back on the pole soon. Okay. So who going to take me? God damn it. I can't find him. Okay. But anyway, so, yeah, I went on a date with this dusty ass dude, but it's not the fact that, okay, like, I don't mind if a guy only has the means to take me to the food court, but I mind if their mindset is insecure, right? Because then it's just like more mental work for me that is not worth my time. Like, I'm not a free psychiatrist, okay? I refuse to be a psychiatrist to these dudes. They have to pay for that. So in the beginning, he's like everyone else. He's like all the other guys trying to be confident and normal, but it's very clear that he's like extremely shaken by my beauty. I don't know how else to put this. I mean, he's like growing more insecure by the minute at how attractive I am. He kept repeating like, "Wow, you're really pretty." I'm like, "Yeah, didn't you see that in the photo?" I don't understand like what is the surprise here. But then there was one point where so he was doing the same kind of thing that I was just telling you about, this girlfriend that I met up with Saturday for my birthday lunch. Like, he just kept trying to cope with his own feelings of inadequacy by baiting me into like saying something that would align with his worldview and his shitty experience in the world. But it's like, in this case, this pissed me off more though, because this was more sinister because it was coming from a guy. So I knew for a fact that he knows exactly what's going on here, right? The fact that he is not particularly attractive. He was pretty scrawny, but like he went to the gym. I could tell he was kind of buff because he was wearing this Under Armour shirt. So he was very like fit, but he was scrawny and not big enough for my liking. I like them a little bigger, a little taller. Um, just not anyone that I would consider seriously for a relationship, right? And he knew this because like he knew during our first interactions on Bumble that I was only in town to visit, and I was literally just, basically only open for a date or two, and then I was gonna hop back on a plane to Tokyo and be on my merry way. Like, I'm not taking anyone seriously unless you're a millionaire or like an oil tycoon who can literally change my life overnight. Obviously, this is not going to go anywhere past lunch or dinner. So basically, if you want to pick me up, so he had a car, but I found out later that he shared it with his brother, and he was actually like living with his brother as roommates as a 37-year-old man. So I was immediately, I mean, I already knew that he was not serious material, but then after the actual details started to come out about his living situation and financial situation, I knew for sure that, okay, this is not, yeah, I'm just here for the food and the free ride and that's it, right? But he was like, he also knew it, right? Before we even met up, he knows that this is what the deal is, but because like he's so insecure, and a lot of these men, they try to take out, they're so frustrated with their lot in life, with the shitty pack of cards that they've been dealt, that they can't help but try to take it out on beautiful women. So this was my mistake, right? So in the future, I will never even let this type of man have access to me, because it's like, first of all, they're so in disbelief that they even managed to get you on a date, that in the beginning they're all like fawning over you, right? And they're like, wow, you're so beautiful, you're even more mesmerizing than your pictures. But then later on, like, they quickly realize, the reality check hits them that, wait a minute, so if you're this beautiful and desirable and you could go out with any guy, like you probably have hundreds of guys in your DMs, which is true, then why did you go out on this date with me? It must be like, men are not stupid, okay? They know that, okay, so I am not particularly attractive as a man. I don't earn particularly a high income. So why would this girl be out with me on this date if it wasn't for the resources that I'm able to provide her in this moment, which is a free lunch and a ride? And that's it in that scenario, right? So he knows this. And then, so once he comes down from the high of like, wow, I actually did it. I hit the jackpot. I managed to get this gorgeous, beautiful, out of this world, out of my league girl on a date. The reality hits them that, oh yeah, the only reason she's here is not because she's actually attracted to me. It's because I have something to offer her, and only that, right? So then they realize that, and then they're like, oh man, and then you can, okay, if you pay attention and if you've been in this scenario enough times, you can literally see like them progress through this, um what's it called, this series of different emotional states. You can see the micro expressions registered on their face. It's wild. So then, yeah, it goes from the most euphoric high, unravel, yes, the perfect word either. So the most euphoric, like, high, they're feeling amazing, they're like, wow, I got this beautiful girl. Then they dip down to this realization that, oh, she's only here with me because I can buy her lunch or dinner, or that I can, be of use to her in this moment. Well, and then they're like, well, okay, I guess that's okay, because she's nice, and I am nice to them. I'm never like rude or anything. I always appreciative, and I express it really clearly to them. So then they start to like, okay, well, I guess it's okay because she's being nice to me. But then they start to get this, like, they start to resent, depending on the guy you're dealing with. But typically, if once they drop from the euphoric state down to here, and they realize that you're only with them because they can provide resources to you, if they're insecure, that's where, like, they're going to be insecure because they know that even the resources that they're providing for me in that moment, it's not even close to the standard that I'm used to, right? Like the baseline standard. I'm just accept, as a guest, like as their date, I'm gonna accept whatever they can provide for me. But subconsciously, they know that a girl like me, I'm used to going to Michelin star restaurants. Like even my freaking like my manager. Okay, I have like a couple of managers. So I have this one. My line manager is female. She's great, amazing. Love her. And then I have this other male manager who kind of is like above her. And then he asked me to go to lunch with him for like a catch up because we haven't had time to have a one on one. And he picked a Michelin star restaurant near us. And yeah, so like even just a regular work lunch with my male manager, who I know for a fact, like he doesn't have, it's not because he has any like romantic interest in me, but um, he's actually kind of younger than me, I think. I don't know exactly, but I feel like he's like 33 maybe, and I'm 36, so I don't think like he has any interest, but I think I don't, the fact that he went out of his way to choose a Michelin star restaurant, it means that still on some level he's trying to impress me as a man, right? So that's just for work. That's not even under any romantic context. So, like, the fact that that's my baseline level. I get treated to Michelin star lunches at work by a work manager, by a man that has zero like interest in me. He doesn't have, at least it's not allowed, right? It's not appropriate for him to pursue me in any romantic way. That's the level that I'm used to. I'm talking about like just this past week. I went to a Michelin star pasta or Italian restaurant with my manager. I didn't suggest the restaurant. He went out of his way to find a really nice one for us. And then we were both like, wow, so glad we came here because the carbonara is really, really authentic at that place. But yeah, so they're like, they drop him. Back to the date with the loser Dubai guy, right? Who shares a room and a car with his brother at age 37. So then he's like, okay, well, I guess it's okay. At least I'm on this date with her and I can enjoy this time with her. But then they start to like resent you for being beautiful. This is how it always happens. They're like, well, they resent the fact that maybe not you in particular, but they resent what you represent. They resent what you represent as a beautiful, amazing, smart, confident, attractive girl moving through this world. And like he knows that I can get any guy that I want on Bumble when I land in Dubai. He knows that I'm probably getting every single meal comped by a date, which I was. And I'm getting driven and chauffeured and just shown the red carpet treatment by hundreds of other guys, lined up in my DMs. They're just waiting for their chance to be of use to me so that they can get a little bit of my time and attention, right? So he starts to resent that, right? And he starts asking me questions like, "Oh, well, why do you want to move to Dubai so badly?" Like, because I always, I expressed to them that I love this city. Like, I've been to Dubai so many times, and it's just, I love the energy here. The people here are so friendly, etc. And he was like, "Well," and he even like, okay, this is so stupid, but he was like, "Well, I'm sure everyone's going to be friendly to you because you're pretty. So um, that doesn't surprise me at all that every store you walk into, every event you go to, you just make friends automatically. And everyone's like smiling and catering to you because you're so beautiful." And I'm like, "Oh, really? Well, thank you so much." Right. And so he's like barely holding it together at that point. Like he manages to say that as a compliment to me. But then he starts to like, there was one question. So throughout the lunch and the subsequent shisha, which I should not have gone to with him, but I did because what else was I going to do as I waited to meet up with my real friend who was still working at her real estate job until 7 p.m. He kept like, he would not let go of this one question that I refused to answer because so he kept asking me, he was like, "But why do you like Dubai so much though? I mean, um, and do you see like the fact that you're asking me that question is already such bullshit to begin with because like you like Dubai so much that you moved here." I'm talking about him, right? Like he was the one that he also told me, like, when I asked him, "Okay, so what's your story? How did you get here?" He also told me that, yeah, he's been trying to get to Dubai for 2 years, and then finally the stars aligned and he was able to make a transfer in his company, blah, blah, blah. So, like, now he's here, right? But then he's also not 100% satisfied with his experience, because of course not. If you're a guy that makes like an average, below average income, and you have no clout, you're not remarkable in any area of your life, in your looks or your income or your clout, your position, then yeah, you're not going to have a particularly good time as a guy in Dubai with all of these beautiful women that only give the time of day to like the cream of the crop guys in Dubai, right? Because there's so many successful entrepreneur, billionaires, millionaires in Dubai. Of course, you're not going to have a good time if you're like a regular salaried guy making 40K, 50K a year. But never, still, it's a step up from where he used to be, right? Like his home country. So he was telling me, you were just telling me about how it was this whole ordeal and journey for you to move from your home country to Dubai. And now you're trying to question me, like trying to interrogate me as to why I love Dubai so much and why do I want to be here. Why do you think I get everything for free? Like I get princess treatment just by walking out on the street in Dubai. And he knows this, right? So the thing is that he wanted to hear me like say it out of his mouth, say it out of my mouth, so that he could confirm or like, point the finger at me like, ha, see, I knew it, you were a gold digger. Or first of all, I ain't trying to prove shit to you, dude. I am, okay? And very proud of it. Yes. I am a gold digger and you have no gold for me to dig, so why am I even here, right? um I didn't want to pay for a cab to go see my friend because it was kind of far away from my hotel. So I was like, let me just find some sim that is willing to drive me around for half the day, which he knows that's exactly what role he was fulfilling that day, without any explanation. Or yeah, we didn't have to say this explicitly for both of us to know that this is the situation, right? But then, so he's like trying to get me to say or to admit that I'm in Dubai because I have extremely high sexual marketplace value, whatever you want to call it here, and that I get treated like a princess. But even like, okay, even without me being me in particular, just any girl in Dubai, the fact that I think Dubai has like 3 times more men than women, and just the fact that like if you are any type of remotely moderately attractive girl, you're going to have a good time in Dubai, okay? There's nothing that would like the city caters to women, the laws are very strict, so the men there really know how to behave. Like they won't harass you on the street. I'm not saying in 100% of cases. I'm sure there's like you can find some unfortunate stories of harassment, but for the most part, the men are very respectful. The laws are very strict, right? So people are much more inclined, like men are more inclined to be respectful towards women, or else they could face serious consequences. Um, so yeah, they're very respectful. They don't harass you if you're particularly attractive. If you happen to be like universally appealing, you could just be out minding your business, eating a lunch by yourself, and men will literally like walk over from the next table and offer to pay your tab in exchange for your number or something like that, or even sometimes just because they feel like it. That's the type of experience you get to have as a pretty girl in Dubai. So this is why I advocate for all my hot girls to go to Dubai at least for vacation, and even if it's not for guys, it's just a nice environment to be in as a girl, to know that like um you know you will get complimented, you will get approached, most likely if you're very attractive, but it's going to be in a respectful way, and like it won't be in a creepy way. Um, so it's nice to, it's a constant reminder that you're very desired and attractive. Plus, the city is so beautiful. There's an endless options of beautiful venues to go to. If you like the beach, if you like tropical weather, what's there not to like about Dubai? But he was trying every time he asked me this question, of course, I'm not going to give him like the answer that he expects. So I'm like, yeah, I mean, I just give him like my generic answer, which is that I like the vibe of the city, and I like how everyone is entrepreneurial minded, and you can meet so many people here that are very like open minded and driven and ambitious, which is true, right? But he was like, every time he asked that question, I would just give him that generic answer, and then he would be like, okay, okay, I see. And he would cool off and back off for a while. But then later, like an hour later, he would try to ask me again because he wanted to hear me say it out of my mouth, or he wanted to like push me to say that it's because I get a lot of attention and amazing treatment as an attractive girl in Dubai. And I'm like, dude, okay, why don't you say it then? Like, because I don't know what your goal is here. I know what the goal is. It's to assuage their own egos, right? Because they can't, like, they don't know how to deal with their own insecurities. They have not done the inner work. This goes for both men and women. So they pathologically have to like project it onto you in some way, whether it's in a more sinister or mean-hearted, not mean-hearted, but like whether it's in a kind of gotcha type of way. He was trying to catch me saying something that would prove that I was a gold digger so that he could like, cut me down or something, or like try to make me um prove to him that I'm not trying to gold dig with him, which again, I'm not trying to prove anything to you. Like you're not even in the running to be my actual provider. You can't even provide for me even if you wanted to. Like if you gave me your whole paycheck, that would maybe be enough for, I don't know, my cat's lifestyle, but not me. So yeah, whether it's in a more nefarious or insidious way like that guy, or whether it's in like a genuine, you know, genuinely like trying to understand me way, like my girlfriend that I went to lunch for my birthday with, the result is the same. Like the entire conversation just devolves into me walking on eggshells, trying not to trigger them, and then them coping at every turn of the conversation, and every little slight inkling that they get, or slight, you know, detail of my life that I reveal, that confirms to them that I really am having the best time of my life over here. That I'm a lucky girl, lucky girl syndrome. All good things come to me and flow to me, and I'm the most beautiful girl, the most magnetic girl in every room that I walk into. Even though the more I try to suppress it, they can still pick up on that energy from even the smallest detail that I give to them, right? Like for example, even if I just say that, oh, the service here is so good in Dubai, like it's always on time and it's so professional. He's like, oh, well, that's because you're attractive. And I'm like, okay, but I mean, don't you get the same good service here? Like the basic, don't you get things on time? And he's like, well, yeah, but it's not the same. I'm like, okay. So clearly the solution, as much as I hate to admit it, is, in the case of my friend, the solution is to stay away from people who are not on your level in terms of self-confidence and self-mastery. And yeah, it's not impossible to have like a woman who doesn't fit the beauty standard as closely as you do, but she still has the utmost confidence in herself. Like there is one lady I'm thinking of in the who participates in the beauty pageants with me. She is like of a bigger build. She's not obese, just a little bit bigger, but and she's a, what's it called? Tarot card reader. It's called Uranai Shisan in Japanese, like a psychic basically. And she is an artist. She appears on TV a lot. Like they invite her on variety programs to do a lot of, I guess, psychic related segments in the Japanese variety programs. And then she's a little bit on the bigger side, right? She doesn't fit like the model standard of beauty here, or the thin standard of beauty here. But her, I feel totally comfortable with, because I know that like I can sense just on an energetic level she is on the same level as me, or she's even higher, because actually she has more like clout than me, if you will. The fact that she is a regular on certain Japanese TV programs. I've only been on TV once in Japan, and I can tell just by her energy whenever she greets me at these events. She's like, "Oh my God, Ren, so nice to see you again. You look beautiful." She won the decision for Hanfuku. So there's like three divisions of different traditional wear, right? There's the kimono division, the qipao Chinese dress division, and then the Chinese hanfuku garment division, which she always enters in. I'm always in the qipao division because I like qipao dresses the most, and I feel like it flatters my figure the most. But like she won the hanfu, is it hanfu or hanfuku? Hanfu, yeah, hanfu dress. It's like the very flowy dress with usually like a shawl or something, like very ornate. Out of the three, hanfu, I feel like, well, actually no, kimono is pretty complicated too because there's like a special way that you tie the obi on, and also you have a very restrictive movement in the kimono. Hanfu is more like flowy, but there's a lot of accessories and stuff going on, and you really have to like um think and choreograph the way that you want to, showcase the shawl and everything. It's too much for me. This is why I just stick with qipao because I feel like it's the easiest. And then sometimes I'll bring a fan with me as my little accessory. But yeah, so she was like, so that woman is a rare case. I would no, well, I don't know if it's rare, but I think it's just the fact that like she is in she's in like a I would consider someone like her to be in a higher circle than me, right? She's akin to a celebrity almost because she's kind of like like a celebrity psychic. She appears on TV a lot and completely self-made, right? Completely self-employed. Like she does tarot card reading. She is an artist as well. She's really good at painting and like calligraphy and all of that. And she participates in this pageant with me. So basically, like most of the women that participate in this pageant, I would say we are all on kind of the same like hot girl manifestation, positive vibes, you a law of assumption vibration. So that's one example I can give of a woman who's like on the bigger side and not necessarily the cookie cutter standard of beauty in society here, but yet she completely owns like her own lane. And she's a mother as well. Like she brought her daughter to the last beauty pageant event, and she was so cute. Yeah, like with her, I don't feel any of these weird, you know, coping vibes or like the leveling that the more insecure girls try to do, whether subconsciously or consciously, because she doesn't ask questions. When you're around people that are of the same high vibration as you, like everyone in the group is super confident in themselves. They love themselves. We know our worth, right? And we have strong boundaries. Nobody really asks questions to each other because there's no need. Like it's self-evident what we're all up to, right? Outside of the normal, like, oh, what have you been up to? How have you been? There's nothing really to ask about. Like, I'm not gonna ask them about how's work. We don't talk about work. We're not talking about work at the beauty pageant for what? Like, oh, how do you feel now that you're a year older? Like, we don't even talk about how old everyone is turning, the actual number. I don't know if like am I please corroborate me on this. Other pretty girls out there watching my channel. Like when I was at work, so all of the women in the team that I work in, and there's a lot of women that work at this company, right? This luxury company. When they found out that it was my birthday last week, they were all like, "Oh my God, happy birthday!" Every single one of them went out of their way to send me a personalized just happy birthday message on Teams. I've only been there for a month, so they didn't have enough time to get together a party or anything like that, and I don't expect that either. But the fact that like out of their busy schedules, they each went out of their way to send me a happy birthday message, and it never came up in conversation. Nobody even remotely tried to ask like, "Oh, so how old are you turning?" It's not a concern, It's not like we don't walk around worrying about how our market value is dropping when the number on our age goes up by one. That's what insecure girls do. That's what pygmies do, right? Like, it's crazy. But yeah, I've been on here for almost 3 hours and I really need to go to sleep. Or else I will not be able to function tomorrow at my big girl job. So unravel. Sorry, I already read that. I think it's rude. Yeah, it's like it's rude, but they don't know that they're being rude, right? And so it's like I'm conscious enough, I'm spiritually elevated enough to know that they are not aware of themselves being rude. So it doesn't, I don't feel offended, right? I feel exasperated sometimes, but I don't feel offended because there's no way that you can offend me, honestly. If we're just being really blunt, like there's nothing in your life that I want or that I'm trying to emulate. So even if you insult me, even if you call me like a gold digger and a whore, attention whore, whatever, okay. I mean, clearly you like it though. Clearly you're obsessed. But anyway, I'm not saying that's what, this girl was doing, but it's just like the stark contrast between interacting with an insecure girl and a secure girl who's on my level, or like a fellow hot girl, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I'm sad. I have to limit my interaction with her, possibly not even meet up with her at all anymore. I mean, the fact that it took us like 7 months to meet again since our last meeting, I feel like it speaks for itself. I think I was subconsciously trying to keep her at bay. Not that she was like blowing up my DMs or anything, but I was kind of like, we had ended the last meeting on a positive note that, oh yeah, we should meet up again. But I remember it was the same like weird things that happened last time. So I'm going to leave after this, I promise. But the last time that we met up, remember I said that the conversation was focused more on like dating experiences, dating strategy, what our standards when it comes to what we look for in men, right? And like it's just awkward because I know, like, we both know for a fact without even saying it explicitly that the her boyfriend, her dusty ass boyfriend that she's had for 8 years, would not even register on my radar as a possible candidate. So it's like this charade that I have to keep up when she's talking about her boyfriend. I need to like pretend that, oh yeah, this is normal. Okay, great. Good for you guys. Meanwhile, I'm trying to get off the subject as quickly as possible so that I don't say something rude about her dusty boyfriend and her 50-50 situation. But yeah, I think like after that conversation, it became very clear and apparent where my stance is on this, which I am sprinkle sprinkle all the way. I am charge these men for every second of your time. Okay. Charge them the re-entry fee if they mess up and they want to, ghost you, or they want to circle back around months later. Make them buy you something expensive. Like, hello, very obvious entry level stuff if you've been in sprinkle sprinkle for long enough. So I think like after I could feel, after that conversation, she was like, okay, well, I guess we agree on some things and we disagree on other things. And I'm like, yeah, but it's irrelevant what you disagree on though, because you're not even like, you don't get the same reaction from most men that I do when I walk outside just on a regular Tuesday. Pretty kake, pretty kake. And then so I noticed this time around, like when we met just this Saturday, she completely steered clear of that conversation. Both of us were like, you know what, we're just not even gonna touch that minefield because, but it turns out, unfortunately, it's not just about men, it's every area in life I'm like doing better in, which she could do better in too if she just changed her mindset. But the thing is, like, they're not there yet, right? So I'm like, hey, I'm not here to hold your hand while you figure this out for yourself. I need to get busy ascending to my next level. This is my life. All right. Yeah, good night. Thank you so much for joining me. I feel better getting that off my chest. But yeah, let me know, what would you do if you were in my situation? Would you stay friends, or would you stay cordial, or would you just like slowly fade out and wash your hands of these people completely because of the danger that they might do something to mess up your life? Happy birthday. Thank you so much. Bye.